Good evening, and welcome to the launch event, as it were, of the Apollo 14 expedition. And you can see the general kind of landing zone here with various ships in different states of flight or non-flight. A little collection of SRVs. Cool. Right.
I will interrupt the stream.
So it's funny when someone boosts straight across like that. It's a good air show. It's definitely always a good air show. Yeah, this is the bunch of the commanders in various ships, all the way from the sort of Type 8 to the usual sort of exploration fare of the Anacondas, the Crates, the relatively new Mandalays, the shiny new paint jobs. And yeah, we've got some other bits and pieces. We have some Cobras. Yeah, the Mandalays are unsurprisingly a popular new ship for this. The Python Mark
You also
II,
have a f-
it's not so obvious, but it's a good one.
you have a free anaconda here, but it tries to join in. Rear join in.
Yeah, I like the trails
That
going
means
across the
nothing.
atmosphere. It's always beautiful when you can see that.
Come on. Ah,
Right, okay.
Made it.
Um, right. What I am going to do is when I start my presentation, probably in a couple of minutes, I will drop out of audio in Discord. But then it's probably best if everyone then watches the stream, because then you can get some sort of cool bits and bobs. And then after I finish that, we can I'll head up to start the core of the orbital launch. And has anyone here actually not done a mass jump before?
I am not.
I have not.
Okay, cool. Did you?
Or have I?
Not either.
Oh, cool. Right. Have you read the instructions?
Sorry to interrupt you, okay, but I am here. Please continue.
I'm glad you're here. I
Here.
I am definitely glad that you're here. Right. Did you read the bit in the guide's exploration about the procedure for the mass jump?
Yes, I'll have it up when we get
Cool.
up there.
And also, as always, that people will be sort of like able and willing to sort of help and assist sort of generally once we're in it. Because I say we're in not a particular hurry to do this. This is like, even though it's the launch day, we're supposed to be kind of quite a relaxed thing. We don't have an absolute immovable deadline or anything, so it's all good. We won't jump until everyone's sort of in position and perfectly happy with everything. So that's the way it's gonna go. Right.
Sweet.
Bear with me a second.
And I have just gotten home, but I will be getting there and getting stream stuff ready here soon.
Awesome, awesome. Cool, right. I will, in a second, drop out of voice, and then I'll be in the stream to do my little talky bit, as I do so every week. It doesn't go on for too long, don't worry. This is not like a 3-hour lecture with cookies and everything. That would be fun, actually. The cookie part sounds quite good, actually. Oh, now I want a cookie, but yeah. That's my own fault. Right, cool. I will see you all in a moment. Cool, so I hope everyone can hear me quite clearly. Everything looks good. I shall now continue with today's talky bit. Right, hello to everyone, not just of the expedition, but to everyone out there in YouTube land. Obviously I used to do Twitch for this, but now it's YouTube, and it seems to be going quite well, so I think I'll keep doing this for the foreseeable future. Okay, so here we have our wonderful nearest neighbour, the moon. You all know it, you all love it, and it's been about for way longer than humanity has, and it's always that beautiful sign in the sky that we all, like, have a sort of mythology sort of going back here to the dawn of humanity about this. Every culture in the world has some kind of story, sometimes even origin stories for their civilization that actually concern the moon in some way, shape or form. It's understandable, especially why sort of, more early humanity would have sort of looked up at the moon and the stars and the planets and thought them to be not mythological, maybe even divine beings, or the association with divinity, which always still lingers on in sort of the naming of various sort of parts of the moon and the planets and stars, which we're all the richer for, I suppose. But obviously, after these, hundreds of thousands of years of humanity staring and wondering what this wonderful body in space was, by the 20th century, not that much more than 50 odd years after the Wright brothers first took to the air at Kitty Hawk, that's a name we'll come back to later on, we are the situation where humanity then enters the space age. Gagarin orbits the Earth, and America closely follows, with one of the heroes of Apollo 14, Mr. Alan Shepard, but we will talk about him later. Going to the moon, now that people can get into space, is a distinct possibility. It is the early 1960s. And President Kennedy, after being on the back foot in the early space race, has something to say about it.
If I were to say, my fellow citizens, that we shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival, on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first before this decade is out, then we must be bold. I'm the one who's doing all the work, so we're just going to stay cool for a minute. However, I think we're going to do it. And I think that we must pay what needs to be paid. I don't think we ought to waste any money, but I think we ought to do the job. And this will be done in the decade of the 60s. It may be done while some of you are still here at school at this college and university. It will be done during the terms of office of some of the people who sit here on this platform. But it will be done. And it will be done before the end of this decade. And I am delighted that this university is playing a part in putting a man on the moon as part of a great national effort of the United States of America. Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there. And new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. Thank you.
Ultimately, as a result of Kennedy's speech at Rice University, the stage is set for the initiation of what became known to everybody as Project Apollo. NASA's goal, as mandated by Kennedy, was to land obviously a man on the moon and return them safely to the Earth. a national undertaking of unrivaled proportions. The only other comparable national effort, even vaguely similar, would be the Manhattan Project, but that was obviously undertaken in far, far greater secrecy. Within the United States, over 400,000 people were involved in Project Apollo in one way, shape or form. Every state of the United States was involved. It obviously is like one of the best possible job motivations that I can think of to be involved in such a huge scale undertaking, trying to invent new technologies, overcoming seemingly impossible problems almost every day. Literally, almost a direct quote that from some of the senior engineers on the Apollo program. They used to have to overcome one usually seemingly impossible problem almost every day of the program. Obviously, it took some 8 years to actually land a human on the surface of the moon, which, you're considering that they did probably about the equivalent almost like 30 years of technological evolution under normal conditions in less than a decade, is simply extraordinary. The fact that the Soviet Union, despite its great achievements in space and its also vast resources, couldn't quite do that in the same time period. Project Apollo itself is probably familiar to most of you, but the core of it, the system that would take everyone to the moon, was the Saturn V, and obviously right at the top of that sits the command and service module connected to each other, and also the lunar module to land on the surface. There's the good old command and service module together, the one sort of commonality between sort of every Apollo flight, and a sort of beautiful picture that I think that actual picture is from Apollo 15, but it's the most one of the more striking ones that I've definitely seen of the Apollo program. We have our friend the lunar lander, again familiar to virtually everyone in the world, but a unique spacecraft, and still to date the only spacecraft that has ever been designed to fly totally in a vacuum from beginning to end, and ended up obviously being equivalent of the shuttlecraft to land human beings upon the surface of another world. Science fiction come true? Absolutely that. Ultimately, Project Apollo was to land these 6 different missions upon the moon. Obviously Apollo 13 not being a successful one, but they were mostly equatorial landings of the moon with slight deviations here and there. This unprecedented undertaking would take in highly skilled aviators, the astronauts. These are the astronauts of Project Apollo that flew in space in that era. And this was taken somewhere in the late 70s, this particular picture. But there aren't that many photos of all of them together, so I thought that was quite a nice one to have. Obviously, to getting to the point of the technology being evolved that they could actually go to the moon was via the initial Mercury program of the early 60s, the mid-60s Gemini program, and then finally early on to Block 1 Apollo, which is something that never actually flew, unfortunately, to the tragedy of Apollo 1. They sometimes say that well, I will actually not paraphrase it myself in this case. Many of you know of the Apollo 1 disaster, but it's not something I am going to dwell on here. But I will let the words of the commander of it, the man in the centre, Virgil I. Grissom, speak for himself instead. I think Grissom was entirely correct that space is a risky business, and it is worth the risk of life because it's inherently dangerous. If we are to make any progress, that is the only way it will happen. The risk has to be accepted, but obviously it has to be kept within sane bounds and minimized. Apollo 1, somewhat like Soyuz 1 in the Soviet Union, its own moon transporter craft, was actually trying to push a schedule that was quite unrealistic, and both spacecraft were really unspaceworthy, and both of them tragically caused the death of both of their crews. Apollo 1 may be even sadder in some ways, not just the fact that 3 people died in it. It was also the fact they died on the launch pad. They didn't even see space. The recovery from this, though, was a great undertaking by NASA. The backup crew for Apollo 1 ended up being the crew of the first actual spaceflight of Apollo. The crew here of Apollo 7. This is one of the most high pressure and probably underrated things that NASA has ever done. After Apollo 1, the Apollo program was nearly ended by Congress. NASA was nearly ended by Congress. But they managed to turn that around and fly the much safer Block 2 capsule, which is the one you see in the background here, that all the Apollo missions ended up being centered around. Because obviously they'd seen their comrades perish at fairly close quarters, and basically the future of the Apollo program, and even NASA as an agency, rested upon their shoulders. But not did Apollo 7 succeed. It succeeded brilliantly, paving the way for the future. I will summarize the following Apollo missions very briefly, otherwise we're going to be here all night, let's face it. But yeah, I will do my best to keep it short and snappy. We have the next one up, the first orbit of the moon by human beings, Apollo 8. Maybe NASA's boldest step into the unknown. And as mentioned in our own Discord around Christmas time, this was the Christmas Apollo mission. The readings from the Book of Genesis and also the famous Earthrise photo, which was, I think, voted to be one of the top 10 images, the top 10 photos of the 20th century. Because I think it's obviously the rise of the Earth over another world, and shows the sort of fragility of our planet. And it was one very much in the memory of millions of people who were alive at the time. I say the boldest step of NASA because basically the Saturn V was not supposed to be flown all the way to the moon on its first flight, but they did just that. They thought the Soviet Union was about to beat them with the Soyuz flight, which could have done a similar kind of objective going around the moon, but the Soviet leadership was somewhat more cautious, and they failed to do that. But Apollo 8 won the day. Apollo 9, as the patch would suggest, ended up testing the lunar module in orbit for the first time with a crew. As with all the steps in the Apollo program, every step along the way had to be successful before the next one was tested. If Apollo 9 hadn't succeeded with its lunar module test, then they would not have been able to go on to the next stage. But they did, as did all their predecessor and successor flights. So I think the Apollo program went about as well as it could have gone up until probably Apollo 12, when sort of, I say, every single stage of the way wasn't repeated. They actually got it right the first time of asking. If you consider how knife-edge the technology was at that point and how complicated the systems were, it's a remarkable feat of engineering. They actually managed to do that, and a remarkable undertaking by all the pilots involved. Another underrated one, we have Apollo 10, the dress rehearsal for the moon landing itself. They did everything that Apollo 11 did other than the last, I think, 7 kilometers of vertical descent to the surface. Obviously, these 3 astronauts are very sort of famous in NASA's history, and 2 of them, John Young on the right and Cernan on the left, would end up walking on the surface of the moon at a later date. These 3 men are legends in the history of humanity. They need no introduction or explanation from me. Yes, the smiling crew of Apollo 12. They did a similar mission to Apollo 11 with a bit more science, bringing home the robot arm of the Surveyor probe in the Ocean of Storms. Probably had the best time any crew as far as we can tell. They always seem to look happy in all their pictures, and I like the mission patch for that one. It's quite a hopeful one. Now, very high drama indeed. The crew of Apollo 13, also well known, NASA's, depending how you look at it, either biggest save or worst failure, but all three of those guys returned home, so I consider that to be a success. Again, it's like the program was very much at risk at this point, but that's more understandable with the sort of near fatality of Apollo 13. But what is intriguing, and links to Apollo 14, is that their mission was actually to the landing site that became Apollo 14's. It was such a key area that scientists, especially geologists, desperately wanted to be investigated. The Frau Morrow Highlands. And coming up to the end of it, we've got the heroes of this particular expedition and flight, Apollo 14. I think this is them doing a buoyancy test with a boilerplate version, a sort of unfinished version essentially of the command module. And I think all the missions crews did this, and their backup crews did as well, because every backup crew was also trained to do the very same mission as the prime crew astronauts, just in case something went wrong with them. If they were injured or became ill and they weren't able to do the mission, they would then rotate into position. Obviously, this had happened before. Michael Collins was supposed to be on Apollo 8, but ended up on Apollo 11 because he was having surgery around the time of Apollo 8. And also, I think Jack Swigert also was actually promoted from the backup crew when Ken Mattingly, I think, contracted chickenpox around the time of Apollo 13. But Mattingly kind of dodged a bullet with that one. He later flew on Apollo 16, but that's a different story for a different time. Now, what is intriguing is, like, for Apollo 14, the backup crew is unusually important to their story. You may have noticed this is the only crew in Apollo history, only backup crew to have their own mission patch. And this was done more or less as a prank on the main crew, because obviously it's like derived from the main Apollo 14 mission patch. But it's kind of also mocking the main crew in their own particular way. Because if you compare them, you can kind of see how I actually came to the mission patch for this elite expedition. It's kind of a merger of that together with the backup mission patch and a picture of Alan Shepard on the surface of the moon. That's quite well known, as you're about to see. That's supposed to be the Roadrunner, by the way, the little creature. It's not necessarily obvious. I think there's like an earlier cartoon version of the Roadrunner rather than the one that we kind of know and love. I think also they changed it on purpose slightly to not be sued by Disney, which is fair enough, really. But yeah, that's Shepard is obviously the key sort of to throughout a lot of NASA's story, and particularly of this expedition, because he was the first American in space and the only one of the original 7 astronauts, the Mercury 7, to actually land on the moon. And here he was, all these years later. Okay, now I will return to the main instance. Okay, cool. I am going back into the main chat for a bit now. Greetings. Hello. Right, did anyone actually get that, or is it
You looking like a ganker joined up the party, yeah? You. I did it like a cool screenshot.
Well, who knows what I've done in the past, let's just say.
Well, good presentation.
Oh well,
What? I can't board my SRV.
Very nice, Yannick.
cool.
What happened?
That's one of those things I sometimes worry halfway through, like the audio goes or something and nobody hears it, because that did happen once before.
We would have let you know.
Yeah, no, I know you would have done. It's just the old sort of paranoia, I suppose. Well, that's a good name, Bagelmeister. Master, sorry.
I need help. I need help to board my SRV.
What's going on?
Oh no, what's wrong?
What's happened to your SRV?
I can't board in. I'm stuck. What?
Oh my.
All the kingfishers.
Yeah.
I don't want. I don't know what to do. Please help.
Oh nice.
Can anybody just push the SRV aside?
Which survey is it you need me to do?
Red one.
Raj.
I hate bugs.
SRV drama.
Yeah,
Yeah.
green SRV, watch out.
Live. It's going live.
No, it's not.
You probably will push me into the ground.
I think I'm going to
Yeah.
move backwards a little bit, otherwise I'm going to get crushed probably.
Yeah. I need to come out of flying angle, so people need to watch out.
The life of
I
an
don't even know.
SRV.
I don't even know if the collisions are going to work properly.
You know, if all else fails, you could board your ship regularly. It'll explode the SRV, but it'll actually...
Corvette, just try to push it from behind. Because we will smash
I
me
don't-
if you go in my direction.
Pardon me.
I don't think it's going to let me because I don't think I assume that they've turned the stuff, so I can't do that sort of thing. Unless you're in it. No. Bill, I moved a little bit. I'd have to get rid of that. Which
One
I
more
need.
time.
Yeah, hang on. Okay, hang on, let me just go. Watch out, let me go for
You're
that.
still streaming, yeah?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Corvette, watch out.
The finest moment. Expedition is not even started without we have cool times.
Watch out,
Okay. Back in just a sec.
Oh, no, I'm still stuck. Weird.
I tried. Can't help
Alright. You'll need to commit mode.
it. I mean, if we want me to blow it up, I can. But you got crimes off yet?
Perhaps this is a good day to die.
I can't
Prepare
die?
for ramming speed.
What?
Do you want me to put in a PA burst on it? Like, there's a railgun or PA.
No, external camera is not working too. I can't die, damn it! I'm sorry, but what kind of bugs is that?
Right, you have got crimes off, yeah?
No, seriously, I'm undead.
You might need to reload.
You can't kill me! I am dead, but I don't receive damage. Oh, really?
Yeah, you might have to just reload.
Oh, I heard an explosion.
Yeah, I'm just disconnected from instance partially.
Ah, there's wheels
got
rolling
it.
down the hill.
Alright, I'm rejoining. Brilliant moment. Alright, stop pushing me into the ground, I will be reloading.
Okay, first casualty of the instance. I've lost everybody. I gotta go to Super Cruise and come back.
Wonderful moment.
Okay, there it is.
So we join up in space.
Were we gonna have some kind of SRV race first, or is it up in space we're gonna be?
Probably SRV. Let me look.
I'm fine either way, just to be sure.
I'm still in the SRV. Interesting. I'm in the red one and it's perfectly fine. I know. I just broke from the instance while we staying in the formation. My SRV have 0 hull strength. Interesting. Never encountered this before. Okay, it's fine now. I just slipped out a few instances with very weird method.
How strange.
Yep.
It's unfortunate.
Right, correct SRV for the glory of the expedition. Like a good old bottle of champagne.
Well, I'm getting some good footage here, I can tell you that.
Yes. That's it.
And he's going. Interesting that Cobra is actually quite low to the ground, more than I anticipated.
That's interesting. I tried to disembark. I'm
Which
getting
one, for instance?
the sounds of disembarking, but I'm not actually stuck.
Ah.
Well, the instance may be just creaking a little bit.
I suspect it is, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that myself.
Damn it, stops.
By the way,
Canyon me, I can get out. Factor 23. Oh, it's fine now.
hey Yannick,
Hi?
just as an addendum to your talk,
Yep.
I actually wrote something about this later on. I think I've got a copy of it. I can probably paste it up in the group chat somewhere.
Yeah.
But in later years, Al Shepard at first expressed exasperation, then slow acceptance, and then bemusement that he'd likely be better known in history as that astronaut that played golf on the moon than being the first American into space. I'd like to think that Al Shepard actually wouldn't mind at all if, centuries from now, when there are cities on the moon, either under domes or underground or in covered craters, there was a golf course laid out and named in his honor. The Al Shepard Memorial Golf Dome or some such. Actual green grass, if you please, or at least astroturf in the right color. And sand traps galore. Bonus rule, you get -1 taken off your shot total if you do the initial swing on the first hole one-handed. I'd like to think he'd find it both funny and an honor. After all, his fellow astronaut Pete Conrad once said, if you can't be good, be colorful. And Al did something very colorful and unique to all of the Apollo astronauts, so why not honor the originality?
Yeah. Well, why not? Now that's true, isn't it? It's one of the memorable things about the whole Apollo 14 era. But you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it depends which country, and I think it varies slightly. But yeah, he's usually known for one of those two things: the first American in space, or the guy who played golf on the moon. But yeah, I mean, it's something to be known for, definitely. I don't think he'd like have a problem with either one of those somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a fascinating story because obviously something that was always going to be like a bonus if they got to the end of the mission and most of the boxes were ticked. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, it is
wasn't really-
fascinating. Huh?
Yeah, and I think it wasn't, if I recall correctly, it wasn't a full golf. What am I thinking here? Just a golf stick, golf club.
Golf club, yeah.
It was just it was just the head of it,
Mm-hmm.
which he attached to the end of, I believe it was like the survey tool that you could actually stick into the ground to grab samples. Well, you take the end off of that and put the golf club end onto it, and hey, you've got yourself a golf club.
Exactly. That's the way it worked. Because the only way they could do it because of the dimensions and the weight. But the very fact that they actually convinced NASA to go along with it is quite remarkable.
And somewhere up there on the moon, there's 2 golf balls.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is interesting. It's like I think it's, as far as I'm aware, it's also the first like sporting activity of any kind to be recorded on another world.
Careful, Freegonda is landing.
Yeah. And I think it in terms of just visual, flair, it's right up there with Apollo 15's feather and weight.
Oh yeah, I think so. You're right. It's like I think that like those expeditions and I think most of them had something about them that was usually quite memorable. The exception being Apollo 16 for some reason doesn't really have any one thing like that. It was just all sort of science and business with them, I think. But you're right, it's like 15, 14, and I think 17 all had some particular sort of unique feature or knack to them that people tend to remember. I think with 17, the thing that's memorable is actually the end of it, the closing bits where Cerner makes his speech and then you see him go into the lunar module and then it lifts off because the guy was filming it from remotely and you see it the only time ever on an Apollo flight. They're actually doing the live feed of the lunar module literally lifting off. And it's just brilliant.
I thought the launch of the lunar module upper stage was seen on Apollo 15, 16, and
They
17.
tried it on 15, and I think in 16 they didn't do it for some reason, but 17 they actually got it done. I think it was to do with the timing they got wrong on 15. The intention, you're right, was to film it properly, but it actually failed. They were just out, I think, in the timing.
Oh.
You know what fun news you have here? That SRV is grounded and I'm embarking it again while disembarking on it.
I'm gonna go ahead and get my SRV out and dismiss my ship. That may help with some of the...
It is starting to break a bit because I just tried to get out my ship and
It's
I
literally...
So we're starting to have instancing issues.
Oh, okay. Then maybe not then.
Yeah, because like I said, I tried to just get out on foot and it didn't like it.
I
Okay.
see.
Right.
If
I'm
that's the case, then I'm gonna go ahead and reboard.
gonna
If you can.
The instance.
I'm gonna leave for orbit and try and form the core of the mass jump. But obviously, just stay here and keep doing the SRV and ships banging into each other in amusing ways for the foreseeable future until I've sort of settled up there. But because at the moment I seem to be being kind of like there's a nose of a look like a Cobra 5 that seems to be banging into my ship. So it may be like a wise time to make my little departure and. Oh yeah, also now I've got the DBX doing it too, so... But yeah, please do continue for at least a little while.
Alright. Well, I don't
Yeah.
seem to be having any problems with disembarking or embarking these circumstances.
Oh. It seems I'm in instance.
Okay, yeah. My shadows are doing very strange things. The entire collection of landed ships are in one giant shadow,
Yeah.
which is strange because the light is directly overhead.
Yeah, I think we're in
Yeah, in fact, I've got like half a shadow underneath my ship.
I also
Okay,
do.
Strongly feel we have already 2 instances here because I
Yeah, we do.
spawned-
We do.
Yep.
Because I'm in the instance you're in now.
I do apologize for the sudden degradation in mic quality. My microphone literally just broke.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's unfortunate.
Well, attempt number 3.
And then I sat down and pressed the mute button. and the mute
Just
button
right in
decided
this
to-
moment, this frontier servers screaming, please stop.
That's one way of muting it.
I'm gonna do my best to get out from under this ship pile before it lands on top of me.
Okay, it thought I was landed in midair for a second then.
So which fleet carrier is coming on this thing?
Say again, please.
Which fleet carriers are going to be on the expedition? Is it going to
Mine
be
one.
the Skier to Pneumatos?
Pneumatos departing late.
Yeah, Skier
please
to
say-
Pneumatos is one of the carriers. If you look on the carrier logistics channel, you'll see
carrier
various
departing
people
right-
posting their carriers.
Right with us,
Yeah.
because it's planned.
Skier
right
will
after.
head off sometime tomorrow.
Yes.
Because
What
I'm going to
are
put
we
a
doing
park
in the space?
ship park a couple
Are you
of
getting
ships
up?
in- Yeah, I think.
Oh, good.
Yes. Screw that SRV race, it's bugged, because our instance is already failing.
Yeah, I
So-
got stuck in the disembarking stage and I
Yes, yes, yes. Not
went by
today.
the main menu and came back in a different instance.
And we traveling with the Tamamitsune today. It departing right with us, or after the mass jump. As you wish.
As you will. Tumbling
Yeah.
down the hill.
Yep. So choose the location, please. Ausland. It's
Yeah,
up to
it-
you.
If we had done SRV races, I was just going to suggest
No more, no SRV races
You
today.
know,
all
I was
it's very
if
bugged.
you, yeah, but if you listen to me, let me finish what I was saying, mate. What I was going to say was if we did end up doing it, I was going to say, oh hey, I could use my railgun as a starter signal, but obviously we're not going to do that.
Well,
Good choice.
if we don't do SRV races this week, we did do some last week, so we're not missing out.
I wasn't here last week, so.
I'm sure we'll find spots to do more.
At least the good memory is that our SRV is very, very special.
Yes, indeed.
I'm just waiting for one of those remote flak shots to hit a system authority vehicle.
Please don't. You will be fined and shot
So far, so good.
in that exact order.
Yeah.
hit.
What did you hit?
I think I hit it. I was racing along here in the SRV, and I think I hit a hidden rock.
I don't want to go for it. Okay. So, Stuff, what are your plans right now? Will we try it the third time?
I think I got hit by those flak shots. So are we forming an orbit now?
Yeah, I'm trying to invite people up at the moment into the team, and then that can build up further again once people have dropped into the instance.
Allowing it now.
It's always kind of funny when you try to invite people and then it's like you're already in a wing somewhere else, or a team I should say. Oh dear. It happens though. Okay, I've got Mac and Perfidia Spoon in my team.
Although when I drop out like, it's not giving me the dropout thing, so I drop out wherever I am, hundreds of kilometers away.
Oh, if you got a fast booster, it's not such a problem. But if you don't,
So you found the position, yeah?
I have indeed. To orbit everyone who is not already in orbit.
I recommend breaking up teams if you already have one.
Yeah.
It'll make this whole process.
Yeah, once you arrive in the instance, exactly. Leave the team that you're in once you're established in the same instance as me. Let me see if
I'm
I've
gonna
got anyone
switch
locally.
ships, since
Oh,
don't think
I
we
just
need,
did that. You disappeared.
Oh,
Well, maybe we do.
I think Perfidious Spoon is
You
in
can
the same
join another
instance as
role.
me, but that's
Signals.
about it so far.
Yeah, you couldn't follow the wake because it's an orbital cruise, so
Ooh.
you can't follow wakes on orbital.
It
Bugger, I
seems-
wasn't close enough.
No idea if I exit
The
well.
wakes.
I
the
will
wake is-
try and invite as many people in as I can quickly.
You might invite me to check if I journeyed to low wake without being in the wings, so
You won't be able to.
it's
because
no auto polling to this time. I might be.
you won't be able to
I
follow
might
the
be
wake.
90. No, it's fine. I just might be 90 kilometers away from you, but no. My coincidence here.
Cool.
Why can't I lock on? I can't lock on. Oh, there we are. Like, I get really short range.
47 kilometers
I
from B8F.
so I've got Cheesy Potato and Ted May in mine. And you?
I think I'm going to have to be wung in again, unless I can.
Okay,
on somebody
I've got a
else's
full
wing.
wing at the moment, so I've
I'm
got
also gonna be invited.
cool.
I'm
Right.
still waiting for an invite as well. OZ.
Just be a bit patient, guys.
If you're already in the instance with me, invite as many people as you can into your own teams, your own wings.
Okay, I see you now.
I think we've got Cheesy Potatoes here as well. That's good. Ted May, 40 kilometers out.
Who is Puff Prime? It's with. Yeah, of course, it's fine.
The wing that just invited me, we're all on Super Cruise, so that ain't gonna work.
Cool, cool. Right, for those of you who have made it to the instance so far, the target is Kappa Takane. Nice and easy one, that. When we're deep in space, it's usually some unpronounceable group of numbers and
Yes,
letters.
that's it.
Yes.
Say it again, Kappa.
Kappa Takane. It's in the chat as well, the main chat, Crew Lounge one. From one Kappa to
Okay,
another.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. That's what I was asking earlier about the combat ships. As long as they had enough range to make it, we should all be okay. The exploration ships all have the range to make it, of course. You know, it goes without saying. Yeah.
Get a wing
Oh,
invite
I'm
to the
well
instance,
under.
please.
Yep.
Sorry, who was that?
It was coded.
Delta also needs one.
OZ needs one as well.
You don't need to pull me in the. No, wait.
Shoot. Yeah.
What was that? What's
Yeah,
happened?
I think there's still some bugs that are left over from early Elite that haven't really been dealt with as far as this is concerned. You know, things when someone says like, you know, they're in a team but they're not in a team, it's like, but they were like 5 minutes ago, so it still thinks they are.
Oh yes, run into that one before.
System authority vessels shooting people up.
Oh,
Without
that's
reason.
not nice. Oh dear. As long as they don't do too much.
Somebody was trying. I believe it was Jeff May who was trying to invite me before. Try again because it didn't work.
So I'm already in instance, so I'm also exiting the wing.
Okay, let me try this.
Just barely, he's already here. That's excellent.
Okay, I'm in a team now. We're good.
Yeah.
Great, great.
Delta and Centauri still waiting.
Cool. I'll send you as soon as I have a space.
I think it needs an invite as well.
Go on from JBL.
Why is it not giving me the whole dropout thing?
Yeah.
I have to actually fly up
That's
to
the
the
longest
signal to
meetup
drop
I
out.
ever seen. Your house. Ah, I see, those pirates.
It's very hard to assemble a group this close to planetary surface.
Yeah, it can be. It just takes a bit longer, I think, as well.
How many players in your group, Yannick?
Okay, I think we've got about 10 players now.
Okay, I'm going back to Super Cruise then. Could I have an invitation from you, if possible?
Sure. Kind of randomly firing off to everyone who I can reasonably. Kit.
Thank you.
Wow, it worked, yay.
Well, I'm not actually into Super Cruise. Super Cruise transition's taking a long time.
Yeah, you have the signal, that's the main thing. I think it's once you have the signal, it's usually a matter of time, and sometimes like attempts, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't. I'm struggling to get in because Navlock is not liking it.
You get execute on your mark.
Okay.
So once we're there, should we leave the teams and we get more
Yes,
people join it?
please do. And if you can bring in someone to your own team in the instance once you're here, that's wonderful. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, like, I'm flying right through the signal. I just can't get in. It's just not Navlock's not working for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I just dropped manually on it.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay.
I tried to, but I
So
just
what do you
tried
what do you reckon?
straight past it.
Just get yourself within 1,000 clicks and disengage Super
Cool.
Cruise.
Roger. Heard.
Yeah, that's probably the only way to do it.
Where's
That wasn't
everyone?
working for me for some reason. And it didn't, the wing signals weren't doing it. I actually had to fly within Super Cruise at about 10k.
Can I get an invite, please?
Who's that?
OZ.
All right.
Thank you.
I got in. That worked.
I exit on some mark and it's broken.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Anyone who's waiting for invites still, we're trying to get as many people in as possible and wing them as quickly as we can. It's taking longer than normal, it seems. So, sorry about this. It's slightly out of our control right now, but we are doing our best to bring everyone in as quickly as possible.
Still 360 kilometers away. Lovely.
Got my invite. I'm good. Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
It's constant technical troubles today.
Yeah, I think the actual surface instance wasn't so bad. That was actually fairly decent. It wasn't perfect, but it kind of held together fairly well overall.
Oh, hi, Kepas.
I mean, if in like another sort of 5 or 10 minutes we can't actually bring everybody in, we might have to sort of re-establish it further out, I think. But we'll see how it goes. If we keep bringing people in at this rate, we should be okay.
We've got 17 in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got some people here. Let's see what
Yeah.
I've got. There's A.G. Duran. There's Quicksilver.
That looks like a different instance.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, unfortunately, I'm going to be going.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you've got your pub appointment.
Yeah, my dad will be expecting me, so
I'm
I'll do my own non-mass jump, and then I'll probably see you next time.
Awesome. It's been great to see you again, and have a good one down the pub.
It's a very, very nice view sitting behind all these ships here, looking at the horizon. Anyway, the flight assist off.
Yes, I'm
I'm gonna
perfectly
fly
aligned
through
to
the
the target.
formation. Hopefully, not crash into any of you. And I
You see
will
it?
Okay.
do my own non-mass jump.
I've got a couple more people just came in. Is someone shooting? Oh no, I thought it was System Authority for a second, but it's not actually. It's just
No,
fireworks.
it's just someone using remote flag.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I don't worry. I was on it.
Yeah, no, I thought you were.
Yeah.
It's just my first instinct was like shooting is like, it's not good.
Just be aware that if you hit someone with remote flak and they don't have report crimes against me off, the system authority will probably
Yes.
arrive and start shooting at you.
I have got crimes.
Yeah,
off, so
I turned it off.
I've got crimes
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, should always
Can I
have
get
it
a
on.
wing for someone?
Cool.
Wing, please.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Saigon.
Cool.
So I'm exiting too to free some space.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
if we
I look forward to seeing some video of the mass jump, and I'll catch you next time.
awesome, have a good one. Right. So we've got most people in it so far. We're still waiting for a few in the wing who are coming in. I don't think.
Yeah, we've got Saigon and Mubi Muffin are supposedly on their way in.
Yeah, as Coded Steve and Karnak Sailor's already here. Coded Steve is too, so I can drop that wing.
Let me get Vagabond again.
Okay. Right. Let's see who isn't in. Yeah, so Saigon's been picked up. We've got Logan. It says leaving team, so that's fine.
Yeah, I want to try that again because I have in fact fully left the team now.
Okay.
Or at least that's what it looks like from my end.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because it says like a lot of people are still in teams even if they're not.
Yeah, that's only me and Power Prime in this instance. Again.
Yeah.
Can't seem to drop into Cheese, Potato, and Mark Smith for some reason.
Yeah, you should be in the same instance as us because those two are already.
Yeah, you just have to disengage Super Cruise when you're
I'm gonna
pretty
leave and
close.
redo it.
Yeah, you have to manual drop on it. You have to like eyeball it.
I'll try and drop on the low wake, see what happens.
You would, yeah. So
You
it would
can't,
just be
you
same
can't
thing.
do that.
Yeah.
Just
You have to manual
just,
it.
Yeah. Steer to the team beacon and drop out when you're as close as you can manage.
Right. Is there anyone else who needs a team signal?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I've got a full wing of people coming in at the moment.
Oh, cool. Right.
I think the reason we're having this
Delta
trouble
can
is
invite
because
people if need be.
Is anyone who's
There's
not?
still about. I still see about 6-7 people in Super Cruise, Yannick.
Okay.
I think we're having this trouble because of the rally point is inside the orbit circle.
Yeah, it is. It shouldn't be a terminal problem, but it just makes that a little bit more difficult. But yeah, if we hadn't got this far, we'd have just abandoned it and pushed it further out. But we seem to have like a fairly stable core here, so we'll probably be okay as long as we can get everyone else to drop.
Get to the. Are you in position?
I wonder if I can just.
I hope I am here too. But nobody in the instance.
Yeah.
Nobody
Doesn't work for me.
us. I joined on free low wake, so I'm not pulled in and maybe anywhere.
I'm gonna. Well, shoot.
Made the mistake of turning my thrusters off and in the gravity of the planet.
Not a recommended thing to do. You will start falling, even if slowly.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Got
just
a bit adrift on my yaw, so I was trying to turn the thrusters off.
just leave it pulsing away, and it should be okay. Okay.
So I'm not sure if I missed something, but the first jump is Kappa Tucane.
Yes.
Is it just however you want to get to Troya?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can do any kind of thing. You can go straight if you like. You can take a zigzag course and hit different things on the way. Some people will probably like head to one of the carriers and dump their ship and change into another one. There's many ways you can do it, in whichever way you wish, really. That's the beauty of expeditions, though. It's like, you know, we meet once a week and have a nice time, and in the meantime, you can explore kind of as little or as much as you want. And I think the further we get out also from the bubble, the easier it becomes to find unclaimed or untouched systems that you can say, yep, I discovered that one. First discovery is mine. It becomes more fulfilling, I think, once we're sort of clear of like the first few thousand light years of the bubble. Beyond the bubble, I mean.
Yeah, I did a sort of self-guided trip to like way below the disk to where the stars are quite thin, and that was quite good for finding stuff I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, it usually is. If you go off the main galactic plane, as you say, either above or below it does tend to be like that, and it's easier to find systems. But yeah, also you've got the sort of galactic maps, which we'll sort of link to sort of later. You know, the what's it called again? The ones that connected with the Galactic Mapping Project and stuff. But yeah, I'll link it there.
Okay, I am
DSM.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's another one too that I can't remember the title. Yeah, Bagel.
GEC?
Yeah, GEC, that was it I was thinking of. And stuff. But yeah, you know the one with like the various sorts of trails that people have done over time and what have you. And the heat maps as well, not forgetting the heat maps. Yeah, that was probably one of them. So is everyone actually in the instance who wants to be here?
Yep. Not yet.
Okay. No.
Not yet.
No hurry.
I've got two more people coming in
again.
Quicksilver and
cool. No worry then.
I'm gonna log back in. Can't seem to drop into anybody.
Yeah. Joe Bangles and Mubi, can you drop out of the wing since you appear to be here now?
Well, I guess I followed the wrong person. Or not. I don't know.
We are in orbit.
686 kilometers. Right.
The gravity affecting me. I'm shaking because the planet is nearby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does that.
Sexual launch.
Yeah, I was lucky. I managed to drop out 8 kilometers away.
That's good.
I think when I did manage to drop in, I dropped in like 3 or 4 out.
A question before we started. Anyone planning to stay here a bit after launch?
I can.
I'm sending the fleet carrier after the mass jump.
Almost got there. It's 460 out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
150. 90.
Not everyone is aligned. But that's
17.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
work on alignment in a second. Yeah. Right, if everyone's the right way up, you should be sort of... The planet should be kind of slightly above you, as it were, off at an angle.
Yep.
And you should see the star straight up. Obviously, our jump is like towards the edge of the atmosphere and the star. Looking for cool things in cool places.
Can't quite make out. I'm thinking I'm in the right spot, but I may be too far out. Hard to say.
That sounds
I've got 2 signals here, and I can't get a good read on. I might be 25 kilometers out, maybe. I'm
if
trying.
you're 25k out, then you should just be able to drop in manually, and then you might have to boost to get to it.
Well, I think this is the best I can do.
Yeah. No worries.
Are you in Ted and Getador? Are you with the main group?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Well, if I'm looking at this right, then I'm in the. All I got to do is boost to get to you, and I'm about 15 kilometers out. I think. It's practically point blank range from this.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a wing to try again?
Okay.
As soon as I get confirmation I'm seeing the rest of the group, then. Okay, I'm at 9 kilometers.
Who was asking for the wing to try again?
Okay, I'm
I'm
dropping into.
Now
I'm trying to drop into that.
Okay, Saigon. Okay, let's try that.
Alright. I better start slowing down here, or I'm gonna smash into somebody.
It does happen. I think, unfortunately, the game seems to love putting people too close, like to other ships, and smashing into them.
We might spread out a bit. The rear group near the crates is packed too tightly, and the front and right side is better.
Kepus Belgon in the main group.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here with the main group now, finally.
I can do the signal with weapons if you want.
I've just received a team invitation, but I'm not there. I'm in Kappa to Karnai because I just got so fed up trying to. I just jumped.
Alright.
I thought you were doing so for some kind of security reason, but it's like, no, probably not then in that case.
Oh yeah, I'll prepare drinks at the nav beacon.
I'll go ahead and drop this team, guys, so you can invite somebody else if necessary. Now, what was the actual name of the star we're headed towards here?
Kappa to Karnai.
Nice and memorable for a change, yeah.
Kappa 29A.
No, Kappa Tucane.
That's the one
that's furthest away
T-U-C-A.
it'd be at the bottom of your list.
Yeah.
Kappa and then toucan like the bird. A-E.
Yeah.
Is somebody able to get your centre into their wing, please?
Kappa. Oh, whoops.
I'll send you a friend request.
Kappa with K, not C. Oh, dear God,
Is it
5,000.
Oh, Kappa Tucane. I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. That really is. I thought the second word was a set of numbers. No, it's actually a word. Okay, all right.
In the chat on the stream, Command Andy Pipkin, who some of you may know, is wishing us bon voyage. Or thank you, Andy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone out there who's watching at the moment. No, it's okay, Pav Prime. If you, long as you've friended someone in the group, you should be able to drop in on us. Just send as many friend invites as you can, and we should be able to get you in. It shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure that everyone just, if you don't know somebody in the group, just friend them. It's always easy to get people in that way, because that's the way the system works. The game is more likely to put people together who are in each other's friends list into the same instance. So yeah, that's why we always encourage it. Plus, it's more fun socially anyway. Oh, someone's sending me, I don't want an Onslaught contract. No, go away. They're always harassing me with these bloody contracts. Like, I don't want to do that at the moment. I don't think I've ever done an Onslaught contract, at least not one that they've given me through the bloody comm system. If I want to do assassinations, I'll just do it via the regular sort of message boards and stuff, or sneaking around into stations talking to strange looking people, as you do on foot, you know. So yeah. Just need to Pav Prime send me a friend request, or anyone really, and then you can get into the instance. Two people still trying to join. Yep, that's true. Okay, Pav's saying don't wait up. Well, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome to do so, but, you know. Right, let's take a look at the group as a whole. I think we're in quite a good shape, actually. We're in pretty good formation. I think that DBX and one of the Cobras is quite close together, but as long as they accelerate in a straight line, they shouldn't be a problem with each other. So that should be fine.
Our entire right side is too spread out. No, wait.
Wait a minute, are there two crates on top of each other? Do you realise you're on top of each other?
A bit forward. Just a bit.
I was going to say, there's a crate, and there's like another crate on top of it. And it's like, are you deliberately doing that, or is that or you don't actually realise that you're next to each other?
They've been taking shots and stuff. We're trying to build a
Or
great
the Conda to the next from the rescue Conda might. No, wait, it's fine. The Mandalay took the place.
Okay.
Yeah, Yannick, if you want, I can do a signal.
A crate and then another crate. I'm reminded of that whole, joke of, yes, on one corner there's a Starbucks, and on the opposite corner there's another Starbucks.
Yeah.
Please don't interrupt them. They commission ship docking.
Kit, sorry, Delta, you were saying about a starting signal, were you?
I've got railgun and BA.
Okay.
I've sat perpendicular to you guys. I don't know if
okay,
you want me
cool.
to do it. It's just an idea I had.
Yeah, I would be shooting kind of like across our sort of front then.
Yeah, I'm sat like 90 degrees to you guys.
Okay.
I'm sat at like
Yeah.
2.7. I'm sat like 2.7 clicks out from you, Yannick.
Okay, cool. Yeah, do that like as the countdown sort of maybe reaches
as you
like
hit-
yes, I can come just like 2 or something like that. Just stop it when it reaches 2 or 1 even. Boertes Void, cool. Right, do we have anyone else who still needs to get into the instance today?
Open contact to rescue the resource.
Right.
Not now.
Anyone who doesn't have any voice contact, immediately say in the chat if you have a problem getting in, because this is the key one.
I can't get in, Yannick. I'll probably lock out in a bit. And go
Okay.
to bed.
Okay, fair enough. I will try once more to get you in. If we can't, then fair enough, really. Yeah. Okay. I can't actually find you on the list, Saigon. Has anyone got Saigon in their wing?
Let me look. I don't have any. I'm not in a wing, but
Yeah.
He's in a
I
wing.
seem to recall seeing him here somewhere.
It
Apparently,
says he's already in the team.
No, I don't see him here.
BE8 has him in their wing.
Okay. We'll wait a little bit longer for him to get here if we can, but other than that, I think we're quite ready to go, I think, aren't we?
Shield's ready.
Back to external cam.
How do you do that, by the way?
What, the external cam?
Yeah.
Control Alt Space by default.
Yeah, it depends on what you've got it set up for. I think my controls might be slightly different to the default. For me, it's best to look it up on your own thing, because I say I don't actually.
Yeah, no, it was Control Alt
Yeah.
Space for me. Thanks.
Okay, cool. And then have a fiddle around with it for a bit. But yeah, it's a good way of getting all these sort of interesting views of different ships in different places. It's always a lovely sight, though, on the surface or in space.
Definitely not piloting like this.
Aha, here.
Okay.
Okay, I think I might have some luck here. 22 kilometers away from you guys.
Sounds about right. Sounds like you are within range of us. I will just confirm.
Finally.
Yay.
I've got to give up then.
That's why we cross our fingers and hope. The instancing gods have smiled upon us.
Okay, we need to collectively reshape our memories, so this was some nice shenanigans, some small talks, and finally the races. One race. It was successful.
Yeah. Now, I think it's probably wise that we didn't actually do a full SRV race, otherwise we'd been here for like another hour or so. It would have taken way too long to have done everything. But yeah, we will be racing a lot in the future anyway, so there's plenty of time for that. Let's have a look from the plan view. There's everyone in their different colours. I do like the sort of 1980s fluorescent crate paint. That's actually pretty cool. I do have one of those on another account.
Got to bring the Miami vibe to the party.
Oh, definitely. Miami vibe lives way into like the 34th century. It's probably more 34th century than it is of our own time, to be fair. You get to visit the beaches of thousands of different worlds if you wish. Yeah, we have some of the older exploration ships and the Asps of a reliable
If you're
crate.
interested in that sort of synthesizer sound of music from Miami Vice used to use. There's an artist that you can find on YouTube called Kebu. That's Kebu. Look up his stuff. He's he's really good. And as far as I can tell, he's using analog synths.
Oh yeah.
Not digital.
I think synthwave has been a big deal, kind of more or less for the last sort of decade. I think it's been a nice sound, trying to recreate that kind of 80s vibe.
Yeah. I remember one of my favorite artists of the time period. I think he's retired now, or he just does production work, not music work himself. Is Thomas Dolby.
Uh huh.
Yeah, he mostly produces nowadays.
Yeah.
We still waiting on somebody to.
Yeah, I think so.
Saigon's in now. So.
Okay, I think that's the last one.
Is Jacinta in now?
I don't know.
They're on the
They're in the wing. I
Okay.
just can't see if they're.
Well, give them a few minutes to drop before we do anything. Just looking if there's anything else that I haven't.
No, I see him. He's here.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm looking
brilliant.
in the contacts list.
Okay. Well, that.
Saigon's within range.
Yep, I got in already. Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'll give it a couple more minutes. So just everyone spool up if you haven't already spooled up.
Oh yes.
Just be careful, because I'm going to be firing a PA and railgun
Yeah.
burst across the bow. So don't boost too quickly, because you might get caught. And
I thought it was don't boost.
Anybody film
just be careful, because you don't. They're only efficient PAs, so yeah, they will still hurt because they are 4 efficient PAs in a long range.
Yeah.
railgun, so
Just
they will
wait.
still hurt.
Just delay your boost a little bit. You know, I say we don't like people boosting initially because we can keep the formation together, as it were. Sorry, I didn't want to come across you.
I'll try.
First smack the plus button.
I'll try. I'm going to try and time it so as Yannick says go, the stuff goes off. But just yeah, just give it. Don't boost initially, because you will get hit.
It's a good enough reason not to boost. So don't boost initially for the first few seconds. Then you can boost after that if you feel the dire need to boost.
And once you see the PAs go across the bow, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Or just don't boost at all.
Yeah.
Or that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do that. Right, cool. Just checking the commanders list. Yep. Right, do we have the last people into position now? Just looking around.
Be sure the way ahead of your ship is clear.
Mm-hmm. Looks like at least you've got some kind of room for manoeuvre, even if it is minimal. Okay, right. I did think about having the actual Apollo 14 count, but it's better if we do it this way because it's an old recording and it's just not as clear. So yeah. Okay. Double check the chat as well. I think we're all here. We're all ready to go. Awesome, everyone. Right, prepared to jump. Spool yourself up if you're not already spooled.
So are we going when we hit go or when the railgun crosses?
Base it on my count. When I hit 1, then you can start moving forward, and I'll do a 10 to 1 count. And when I hit 1, just start moving. Throttle up.
Who aren't
Yeah, just be like I said.
voice chat.
Yeah, I just double checked in the main chat as well. I don't think there's anyone who needs to get in, as far as I can tell. So we're all.
I am moving a bit further out just to
Yeah.
give you guys more.
No, in voice chat.
Jump out. Like in Passage to Andromeda. I remember that event. Someone jumped the Super Cruise occasionally and had to go back for my jump.
But yeah, but no, as I say, like 10 to 1, and when I hit 1, then you can gauge full throttle at that point.
Yeah, so I'm 6 kilometers away from Yannick now, and granted I'm off to the side a bit, so you should be all right.
Sorry, and was there anything else that anyone needed to ask before we get going?
Yeet.
Yeet indeed. Yeah, right. Well, everyone,
got already.
this is the launch mass jump, and we'll start the count in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engage. And we're away.
It's happening.
Yes.
It's happening. Who smashed my shield?
Never gets old.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I still love doing this.
Yeah.
And we made it.
Good, good.
Well, I need to go for a drink.
And here we are, Capiticane.
Well, we can start right now.
The star has turned deep green for me.
I
Okay,
think.
there we go.
Oh, I love the trails of other commanders.
So, who wants to go straight forward? The carrier is prepared for the jump.
I think I will do it the old-fashioned way, and jump forwards. What time are both the carriers leaving? Just for anyone who's listening who isn't actually sure, isn't actually sure, I should say.
Well,
My carrier will leave sometime after 9 a.m. tomorrow in game time. It might be quite a long time after that, but it will not be before.
Yes, 22 IGT.
Okay. So one is leaving quite soon. The other one is leaving tomorrow morning. Okay. That's fine.
Okay, guys, I'll catch you next week. Well, if I'm
Okay, stay around. Have a good luck with.
Awesome.
Find something.
Okay.
Nice
Alright.
everybody.
Seven.
See you guys at waypoint 2 then.
Have a good one.
Absolutely.
Neat time.
At the waypoint.
First time for me. This is pretty neat. So I'll see you all next week.
Good job, Yannick.
Alright.
Appreciate
Sure
you, bud.
Thank you.
Right, thanks, Yannick.
Awesome. See you next week. I'll be in the chat for a little bit, so yeah, like maybe the next sort of 10 or 20 minutes or so. But yeah, that was cool. It's always good to get underway like that, but as always, it's cool. Who's let the cat in? Is it Dr. Nagi again? Yes, the famous cat Dr. Nagi, for those of you who know him. Sometime explorer, all-time cat. Ah, it's good.
We can hang out in the bar if you wish. We serve a nice bubble tea in there.
I'm sure you do. I did put a racing ship on JBL's carrier just for future providence. I don't know why they keep doing those onslaught contracts. It's just annoying. It's just like, no, go away, leave me alone. Oh. Yeah, I think it's because I did some kind of related work in the last few months or something. So now the system seems to think that that's the kind of thing I want to see all the time. But it's like, no, I genuinely don't, you know. Ah, dear. But I should really turn down my game a bit. I didn't quite hear what anyone said there.
I was just saying the mysteries of the algorithm.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Some bits of the algorithm haven't been updated since the first day of the game, pretty much. You know, like some of those very sort of repetitive, you know, NPC kind of talk and what have you. They improved it a little bit at one point, but you know, it's very still sort of very stilted, a lot of it. Right, now the question, where do I go next? Well, route do I take out of the system? Yeah, no, I'm just, when I say the system, I mean the bubble, actually. So, yeah.
And a voice whispers in your ear, "Finally found you. Come to me, little fishy."
There's
Maybe
a
we will have
Thargoid
some
doing
rest
that.
now, because now the instance is not overloaded and we can do it. Finally.
It's interesting, I've got bits on my map near the bubble. I'm thinking, why did I actually put that there? I don't remember the reason, and there's no indication as to why. I'm going to go there just to see why I put that as a note in the system, as like on the map, you know, with the bookmark, I should say. I'm going to travel there just to see what was I thinking when I bookmarked this place. Must have been quite a while since I've done that. 33 jumps to the bookmark location. I think I'll just ignore all these NPC prompts.
Perhaps they'll leave you alone once you're outside the bubble.
I think generally that's what happens. I think you don't tend to get harassed by NPCs as much. Unless you're around a carrier, which might be different.
No, the carrier chat itself will tell you there's all sorts of stuff going on, but there aren't any NPCs.
Okay. I thought there was like a defense force on the carrier that was an NPC though.
No, not if I recall.
Well, there are ships around the carrier that kind of serve. Looks like they serve the same function as the defense force around your standard starport.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, a bit more info while we're still here. You can feed the fluffy Leviathan a bit more. It's have more space for tritium. I removed all equipment I had. Nobody gonna use it, so it's just wasted space. So I removed this, and we have more. What's there? Times 7.
Right, cool, thank you. Yeah, I should really do the plotting a bit more precisely. I think since an update a while ago, and they changed the sort of values of the galactic map so that it wouldn't automatically remember your previous sort of preferences when it came to the Pilots Federation map. You know, like when you put in, it's like you look at the star class.
I've had issues with that.
Yeah.
It's bugged at the moment because sometimes if you put apply filter, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've tried to do, but it, as you say, it kind of A, doesn't remember them, and B, it often doesn't work, you know.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Yeah, it is. Because in the past, it would just remain whatever your last preference was, and until you changed it. But
Yeah,
now,
I think that since I came back and I've done a few writing things, and I've sort of been, when I've been sort of done a debrief, so I've been like, yeah, this is not really working all the time at the moment, you know. So you can't just like rely on it. You got to be a bit more aware about what just star you're jumping to.
yeah, especially if you're nowhere near a station or any possibility of rescue, then you've got to be really careful.
You're on a ship with low fuel.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, this is the downside also of SEO drives. You start using those like too often, you can burn through your fuel quicker than you anticipate, especially on an exploration ship, when you've just got less of a fuel capacity to start with.
Yeah, I've seen several ships suck out since I, like, again, just watching Fuel's channel, and just sort of seeing clients just running out of fuel in neutral starfields. That's just, that happens when, you know.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, people get caught out massively.
As you say, it's like the neutron fields, brown dwarf fields, etc., etc.
Someone was there.
Hello.
I'm at the bar.
Ah, that's quick. Straight to the bar. You got your priorities right. I mean, I like the bar in this, but I think we've all said this at some point. It's like, it's a bar, you can ask for information, you cannot order a drink. Or how hard can it be to have animation that you just like buy a generic drink and like, you know, your character or another character even like, you know, just drinks it. You know, it's like it's a very strange bar otherwise. I mean, I've seen like an Oxygen bar in real life, you know, at a music festival where people were just taking that.
What is this? This is thick red liquid. This is violet. This is blue liquid. I don't know what it is.
Mm.
At the very least, we have an emote where we're drinking.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But I'm surprised that's not being included because it's a very simple thing to do. It's not a complicated sort of animation or anything. And you'd thought if they'd built a bar and, you know, all these other animations as well for the characters, including an Note 7 salute, it's like, why isn't there a drink one? You're just like, if you sit at the bar for a while, characters should just maybe automatically just start drinking or something. You know, it would make more sense that way.
Let me check one thing. Who broke the fan? Damn it! This fan to the right from the entrance is broken again.
Okay. I mean, now the pipe stem sector, which are sort of the more interesting sort of named areas of space. It's quite a small pocket of space, really, but you know, it's more fun than a lot of the sort of procedurally generated names of much of the galaxy. I mean, outside of Explorer's Anchorage and Colonia and Beagle Point, I don't think there are any other actually like named systems that aren't just procedurally generated out and about. I mean, even the nebulae are procedurally generated names once you get a certain way away from the bubble.
Oh, there's the jump video. Gonna watch. Yes.
Was anyone else streaming today?
No, not me.
I shadow played the jump from my point of view, so like if need be I can put it up on a YouTube video.
Oh, cool.
Music and shit, so I can share that if need be.
Awesome, and the more the merrier, really. It's good night, Perfidious Spoon. Have a good one.
Okay.
I'll look at it down.
Oh, Maya promote this picture with our SRV stain in the heart shape. I placed it in the images. It's looking good.
Well, I'll get started properly in a few hours, but for now, right now, I'm gonna take a nap.
Fair enough.
So, I will talk to you guys later.
Awesome. See you soon.
Have a good one.
All right. You too.
It's always interesting when you say you've got a lot of commanders, obviously from different time zones. Obviously, a lot of North American commanders, and there was a certain amount live in East Asia as well, and Australia too. Australia, New Zealand. There's always going to be a few of those, but it's you know, because obviously I do feel for the people who are living radically different time zones and they're doing things on European time. It takes that much more sort of commitment, and it's great because the thing is, obviously, we're not huge enough an expedition to actually have like different time zone events, which would be ideal, really. That would be the best thing for everyone. That would have been cool to have at least like 3 different sort of launches. I think I got masochistic in like Apollo 11, and I actually attended the launch of all 3 time zones. Yeah, I was beginning to regret it by the time I actually did the 3rd one, because I had like, you know, a few hours sleep.
I vaguely remember you doing that.
Yeah, I think most people were shocked to see me at the 3rd one. The 2nd one was not too long after the 1st, like about 3 or 4 hours or something, so it wasn't ridiculous.
I think I probably went to 2 of those.
Yeah.
Because something I realised the other day is I think basically every expedition you've done, I've been involved in some respect.
Yeah, I think so. Going back quite a long way as well. I think maybe not the first 2 I did, but after that I think you were involved in every single one in some way. You're right, yeah. Well, that's it. It's always great fun to have you around, and obviously you are a good combat pilot and you have a good eye for these things. So it's like, no, as always, I say to people, if you want to
I'm rusty.
play.
I need to shake off the rust. It's fun. I've been having fun since I got back into the video again.
I think it's great because a lot of people at the moment, I mean, we've all noticed this, no doubt, that a lot of people are getting back into Elite or have done recently. I know there's some people like, I use JBL as an example, who's just been like consistently doing the game at sort of quite a high level for a long time. There's people like myself kind of in the middle who have been like not really left the game but kind of went to kind of a lower level activity for a while. And there's a lot of people who just stopped completely for a time, and I totally understand, you know, real life always should take you know, precedence, and there's more than enough shenanigans from the Odyssey launch era to put a lot of people off. But I think these days things are a bit calm, and it looks like Frontier may have turned a corner in terms of how they sort of treat the game, like they're sort of beginning to treat it as more priority again. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as with everything, I'm sort of sitting back and saying, we'll see. Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of us who've been around the game a while are at a point where we just kind of, like, we just want to see, you know, everyone that plays the game knows that how, I mean, even like the jaded veterans know this game has so much potential. There's a reason why I've come back to it is because there is no other game like it.
Oh yeah.
No, like Star Citizen's not the same, although I've not really played that.
Yeah.
Eve is completely different. Whenever I played both games. Whenever people compare the games, I'm just like, no, completely different category of game. Don't know what the hell you're about. It's like, to me, it's like when people compare Destiny and Destiny 2 and Warframe, completely different games.
Mm-hmm. So. I do agree about the space go. I think I've always said that, even though around the time the Odyssey release, I was kind of not wary is the right word, but I was just very disappointed, I think, for a long time. But they say I didn't actually stop playing the game, but most of the reason I didn't stop playing the game was, apart from the community is great and I still kind of enjoyed it, was the fact they said there is no better space game out there. There's quite a few people I know, actually, well, not few, but a substantial enough number of people who played Eve before they played Elite. And Star Citizen, by the sounds of it, still sounds like it's not in that great a shape. I've always said to people who've like tried to get me into Star Citizen, saying, look, if it gets to the beta stage, when it gets beta, whatever, it's like, or even the full version is like, I'll play it, I'll review it then, but I don't really want to play like a sort of alpha state game at the moment. You know, it's like, you know, and that's fair enough, really. It's like, because like most games, it's got to be like some playable form before I kind of want to get involved.
And it's playable to some degree now, but I think the thing is, for me, I've said to mates in the past, alright, once I get my new PC sorted, I'll maybe think about it, and I've got that sorted now. So I've said maybe we'll see if stuff goes on offer, I might buy a pack, but I'm not spending more than like 40 quid on it because I can't afford it. But I mean, Star Citizen is to me in some ways similar to Elite in that both games have got a lot of potential. It's just, and both things, and for both games things aren't going the way that I think most people feel like they perhaps should, because obviously Star Citizen has been in development hell for so long. It's just feature creep, whatever you want to call it. It's just they've had so much money invested yet. It's not an actual product fully. Like, I mean, they say there's still an alpha. You know, it's like, well, you know, it's like, alright, yeah, you can play a decent amount, but it's still not. It's still, whether you like it or not, it's still an alpha state game. You know, so they need to progress things. But
yeah, it is interesting. I hear bits and pieces about the game still, but it's like Elite's my main focus still.
And the thing is, as well, at least for me, is I'd sort of say, if ideal world, Star Citizen and Elite would be competing with each other, because obviously the competition breeds, like, it breeds engine. I forgot the right phrase, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, it just breeds that innovation. You know, that's the word I was looking for. Competition breeds innovation. You know.
Oh yeah.
So that way we're going to actually improve things. It's not. No one can rest on their laurels.
100%, yeah, definitely. But you're right, it's like healthy competition is always good for any game, or, you know, anything really. But it's nice, it's nice. But I was going to say, think about Elite there, apart from, like, I think the communities that we've always said is like the most unique thing about it. And I've noticed there's quite a few people who actually did stop playing Elite for a while, but still maintained the sort of social groups and social contact that they gained in that. I mean, you've seen it yourself, Delta, and a few other people have seen it as well. No doubt, there's a few people I've known who I've been in contact with for years after they dropped out of the game, and now thinking, well, this looks interesting, and maybe I'll come back now. And a lot of them are.
Well, for me, two of my closest mates, I met one of them in person once. I've met the other person a few times, and then another group of friends who I met through Destiny 2. I started playing Destiny 2 with some people who I knew from Elite, and then we then met people in the Destiny 2 community. And some of them now are some of my best friends. So it's, I mean, I think for me, I probably, with the elements of the community I've sort of been involved with and seen, I've seen some of the nastier sides. So I think that's largely why I stepped away.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I did see some of the nasty sides of the community, and when it gets nasty, this community does get the elite dangerous community. Obviously, as with any big game, there's always going to be darker sides to the communities. But I think that's largely why I stepped away. But at the end of the day, I still got friends here like yourself, Yannick.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what groups I'm associated with.
No, absolutely. As you say, like, there's so many people who play Elite that there's bound to be that kind of variation. As you say, in any community, there's bound to be people who get on your nerves or are just downright toxic, and it's just human nature, I suppose. I mean, but there you have.
And the internet in general, they're like, sad part of reality. But at the end of the day, like, there's still that part of the community that obviously wants to cooperate with each other. Still, like, there are obviously great people around. As much as I sort of, I'll call out the darker side of the community, but at the same time, like, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, the community's all dark. It's like, no, it's not like that. It's balance in everything,
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. It's like, it depends where you're looking. I mean, I think by its very nature, there's going to be more friction in sort of PvP circles, just because it's PvP, and exploration almost is sort of the inverse of that, because it's like much sort of calmer thing on average, unless people are doing like building towers of SRVs and ships. That can get a bit crazy, but it's all in good fun, really. But I know exactly what you mean. It's like in any community you've got people like that, definitely.
Yeah.
Still, it's been a good day, I think, and it's gone about as well as I could have hoped, reasonably. It's always fun to get back out again, but I think I did the right thing, actually stopped like organising for a couple of years, because it does get a bit sort of like anything. If you overdo it or you do it for too long, 100%. It can. If it's not so much fun anymore, or it's sort of you've got other things you need to be doing in sort of real life, it's kind of a wise move, really.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, variety is the spice of life. It's such a cliche saying, but it's one that I'm fond of.
Yeah.
It's why, like, I've done basically everything in the game. I've done PvP, I've done exploration. I've not really done much Alpha, but I've done training. Been there, done that. So it's good.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's like, but it's good that the game is still here and it's in a good enough sort of state to come back to, because there was obviously a long period even after, like, when Odyssey after Odyssey kind of became more stable, there was like not a huge amount of content that was sort of added beyond. And the Thargoid Wars was kind of interesting. I mean, I was not into that as much as some people. I never really got truly into AX combat or anything. I tried it a little bit. I got an AX build, but I can't say I'm particularly great at that. I mean, quite a lot of time and effort be put into it to get any kind of standard, and I wasn't really like a PvE. Well, I wasn't like a heavy sort of PvP or PvE pilot in the first place. It was a little bit of that is okay, but I did mostly like rescue missions at the beginning of the Thargoid Wars, and maybe a touch of that since. But
I think my sort of stance on that, my personal stance on the whole Thargoid combat stuff, is like, oh hey, like, I disagree with how we've done that. I don't get what people say. Like,
Mm.
humanity provoked them this time, and then, but when they started going to the bottom, I'll allow myself to do some anti-human combat to like defend innocent civilians, you know.
Yeah.
Like the bubble, you know. And I did do a little bit then, a little bit X combat. But that was kind of just like my sort of like roleplay. Okay, that's like a line, you know. My line in the sand, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think initially I did start off doing like passenger. I think so. I came back, start to come back around the invasion assault, which sounds like it's a very common thing. And I initially started off as doing passenger missions, and I said, "Stuff it. I'll see." That wasn't the exact words. Well, but it could keep it polite. But yeah, I was just like, right, stuff it. I'll get a ship sorted out, you know, because, like I said, lines in the sand, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the whole Thargoid War thing, it was a decent piece of content, and there was bits of it that I thought were sort of very good. But I think it's a good thing there was like non-combat missions available, but it did kind of skew more towards combat than anything else. But yeah, it was. I think the only thing I will say, this is obviously not like a generic kind of criticism, because it isn't, because there were so many different factions and people involved at the beginning of the Thargoid Wars on the main sort of server, the Defense of Council of Humanity, whatever it was called. But the thing is, because I hoped at the beginning it would be because it was like this all for one for all kind of, you know, feeling, that we'd actually have a much more like, you know, deep interaction between people with different groups who wouldn't usually get together, like explorers and PvPers fighting like side by side kind of thing. But in reality, even like really early days, talking about literally a matter of days into the Thargoid invasion there and the setting up of the server, it became like very group political. And I kind of was complaining about this. People were saying, look, this is supposed to be, like, not saying people should leave their groups, but, like, drop your group identities. Because it became of, like, all the Imperial groups are here, all the Federal groups are here, all the Alliance groups are these different things. Like, we should not be doing this. We should be, like, literally everyone should be just mixing in and, like, mucking in wherever possible, because that's the whole point of it, surely. Not just, oh, it's another thing for my group to do in the context that it already does everything else. It's like, that defeats the point, surely, you know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, myself, I did, like, dropped, I did kind of like what you sort of suggestion, you know, but I think for a lot of people, their sort of ties are so deep-seated, you know, it's understandable, and, you know, and, like, especially like if people say, I mean, I don't have the full idea of what's going on in Power Play. I just sort of hear some stuff, and you know, and I hear about like alliances and stuff and how things are grouped, you know, and which powers are grouped together and stuff like that, and you know, and I'm sort of like, okay, it would make sense to me why they don't sort of, there isn't that sort of bond like you said, I guess you suggested that you were sort of hoping for. But, you know, I guess it's, at the end of the day, it's tribalism. It's human nature.
No, it is, and it's sad. Yeah, it just seemed like a missed opportunity to me, and it's like, but as you say, it's like I don't mind that people have got groups and they have their own sort of tribal loyalties, but it's just like once in a blue moon. This was the blue moon, you know.
It is what it is, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why I just kind of stuck to rescue missions more or less, and just thought that that's kind of it, really.
Talk more about those rescue missions is this Dutch anti-Xena. Those bastards just swept all megaships without even trying to fix that bug. That exact bug. At least we won the war.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, I quite liked a lot of the rescue mission stuff, because you had to like balance your ship quite nicely between a certain amount of speed, a certain amount of defense, and because you still had to maneuver quite a lot to get away from a Thargoid. Let's say if you had a cutter that was very good in boosting, you would still not be able to get away from them that easily. So there would always be this thing, and it was rare that I didn't get some kind of damage in every run.
You know that exactly freak on the Savage Marshift people. It was a ship before.
Yeah, I tried a few different ships for that. I actually tried a Beluga at one point as well, which actually worked better than I anticipated. But it's designed to be a passenger ship, so I thought, well, if I can like build it up with properly, and it wasn't that bad. But I think, what was the optimum ship that I found in the end? I think I actually ended up sort of going in the direction. I tried a crate at one point with just fewer numbers of passengers, and it was good for boosting. But it was I couldn't take as many people, so again, it's getting that kind of balance. So I mean, it wasn't actually a bad balance. I think what they did for passenger missions, rescue missions.
I think for me, the ship I found the most success with was the Cutter. I think Corvette you could probably get away with as well.
Yeah, I did that too.
Corvette, you can build it tanky, but at the same time, it's not always when you're trying to get the balance right with passengers. Like I think in terms of just passenger missions in total, I think the Corvette is actually the best ship. I remember people saying to me, in terms of pure passenger numbers, the Corvette ship's the best.
Yeah,
it's the best. But at the same time, like the Cutter, you can get it. You put a grade 5 dirty drive on the thing, it boosts like 550, and you're outrunning most of the Fargoids at that point, so you get away, I think most of the time, unless I had some of the bigger ones, some of the bigger Fargoid Interceptors that could boost faster and could keep up with me, I think most of the time I was getting away pretty much unscathed. If I got unlucky and got hyperdicted by one of those big sods, though, yeah, it was a bit touch and go.
Yeah, that's the thing is, you're right with a Cutter. It's great if you can boost, but it's not the most maneuverable of ships. But yeah, but no, it was fascinating for a sort of PvE environment. That was I think it was done quite well, and it did provide some kind of challenge. As you say, sometimes you get away almost unscathed, sometimes you wouldn't.
Yeah, and the fact that it wasn't just oh hey, it's just one of the bigger, it wasn't like a Medusa or something every single time. It varied. It harked back to varieties to spice of life.
True.
Sometimes you get the hunters. Whenever I got hyperdicted, I didn't look. I was just just boost, just boost away, just run. Do not try to turn around and engage, because it's not going to go well. Because I think I only had engineered thrusters in my FSD, so.
Okay.
Because I haven't bothered to do much of my Cutter, because up until recently I didn't really have enough money to justify it. Now I can.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's I think also the whole river passenger rescue missions work quite well, because you need a certain amount of commitment to work out what the optimum builds were, but you didn't have to put as much in as you would if you were going to go full on sort of Thargoid hunting with your AX ship. And obviously AX is better done with other people anyway, so you probably needed to join a group to do that.
Is 1 point difference and 1 electronic countermeasures. That's all.
Okay. I must admit, I'm not an expert in AX anyway, so I couldn't tell people what the best configuration, the best builds are for that. Because I have people ask me before and said, I'm afraid I'm not really an expert in AX combat. I know basic amount, and it's very sort of rudimentary. I read a few articles, talked to a few people, but it's there's people with a lot better knowledge of it than I have.
Yeah, and then there's the anti-initiative have little guides on their websites and stuff, and there's with builds. I think I was sort of getting builds off there.
Yeah. No, I did look into some of those. The only problem was that I didn't have enough unlocks of various bits of technology to actually do half the stuff they were talking about. And so
I think for me, I didn't bother with. I hadn't bothered to do. So I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I trying to think what I did. I think I ended up just using some of the enhanced Xeno weapons from the rescue megaships. It's kind of a variant of what they had in there. and I just did that, and then obviously I had all the engineers unlocked anyway. I didn't have the Guardian stuff. I haven't bothered to do that. The anti-Guardian field stuff. I haven't bothered to do that.
Yeah, bear with me just a second.
Later on, I don't know. I include this on Firewood stuff. Maybe just send you a message.
So, anyone still behind in the bubble or already departed? Because someone decided to go back. Because the carrier will depart in 5 minutes.
I'm just having a quick look at the galaxy map to see how many little green squares are still hanging around.
Yeah, I need to watch too.
I'm sat Doctor in the station.
There's a few people behind me. I think a few people will just call it a night anyway. You know, one thing, I think one minor complaint I do have actually about the Odyssey era map is that it says a friend is present. It's like, it doesn't tell you which friend.
Oh, yeah.
The old map used to do that. It's like, it could be literally anyone. It could be someone in this expedition as me. It could be someone completely random who I met 3 years ago. You know.
Yeah, you have to put it up on the side menu.
Yeah, yeah. It's just annoying. You can't just click on it and think that's such a person. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, now it says here, you click on the side one, but it's just like, why don't you just, like, do it straight out? It would have been easier, you know. Still, I can't really complain. Our Perfidious Spoon is doing quite well. They're slightly behind me, but they're ahead of most people. And there's like a sort of trail of people, Boate's Void, Katusha. I don't know if they're even on this expedition. They might just be generally out and about doing stuff. In the bubble, see who else is where. Some of these people might not be anything connected with us. Quadior is. Kappa Reticuli, yeah, most people are still there. AG Duran, Quicksilver, Delta Centauri, of course. IR Brown 34. Yeah, no, that's cool, that's cool. I should exit the map and just continue with my journey. How long have I got till I hit that waypoint? Well, not the waypoint, but my own personal waypoint. It's another way also of exploring the galaxy, if those of you who haven't been out for all that long or haven't just explored that much. It's probably best to always break your journey down into smaller chunks. Like, never think I'm going to have 20,000 light years to go. Try and, like, look for nebulae or interesting stars along the way, because, you know, Class O and Class B stars often have this sort of aura about them, you know, on the galactic map that you can see a long way off. Stuff like that's usually, and a lot of them are actually planetary nebulas anyway. So if you could look for stuff like that, there's on things like the EDSM map and the other galactic maps that you can usually find these various planetary nebula, bigger nebula, interesting stellar phenomenon on your route. So sometimes it's a good thing to like go out your way a little bit, even if it is only slightly out of your way. It's often worthwhile to try and sort of break the journey down and make it more interesting. At the moment, I'm just investigating an old bookmark of mine that I have no memory of actually making. I could have even made it by mistake, to be honest.
Yannick, you fly in Super Cruise. You can jump. Also, how much do you have in the Mandalay?
The range of the Mandalay, you mean?
Yes, yes.
My jump range is about like 79 light years, I think. I didn't play with it that much. I've just got one fairly well upgraded.
I have 72
SEO.
on the Conda.
Okay.
77.
That's good. That's good.
Alright, it's time. The Soap Sorcerer is charging the FSD. Anyone
He's sitting on the bridge.
wanna to travel? Please board in.
I'm sure that most people are already on board who needed to be. And at worst case, they can always travel with JBL.
There's
tomorrow.
only 2 commandos here currently.
Okay. I've lost 1% hull somewhere and I don't know where that is. It's probably all those SRVs climbing on top of my ship.
I've basically just started.
So a quick check of my ships. Little sidey checked.
In the chat, Andy Pipkin has said that he used a 635 meters a second Orca for rescue missions. Now, I did actually do that. That was my final configuration of my rescue ship. I ended up having an Orca as well. That was like similarly, like high boost. It wasn't quite 635 per second, but it was about 580.
Do we need more rescue ships or not? What do you think?
I think it depends sort of like how much you actually like doing it, if you can be bothered to actually spend that much time in building one. I mean, the Orca's quite a good one, I think, because it's supposed to be a passenger ship anyway, and it's obviously if you put drag drives in it.
Equip it with rescuing stuff, the equipment, fuel, repair and so on.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it does the job for Thargoid rescues at least anyway, you know.
Right, it's lightweight, so it will go with us.
Yeah.
This one is big and strong enough to carry 25,000 tons.
I remember hearing back in the day about some. I can't remember the name, but someone used to do PvP on an Orca. People used to bring it as a meme ship just because it was, and basically people would just like boost around with it. Because it was fast and, yeah, it was an absolute bullet.
20 minutes before departure.
It is quite an interesting ship, though, obviously, because I did use as an explorer for a time, and I still got one as well as a high boost. I think Delta, you know this, and probably a few other people do as well. But I deliberately built a particular Orca to be a sort of as an assassin-proof ship as I could reasonably get. And I did go to like several PvP pilots and say, would this allow me to get away if you were after me? And they all said, yeah, it would. Basically, it was like so heavily armored and like prismatic shielded, and it did about 600 plus in boost, and it could perma boost pretty much. So it would just essentially stay at the edge of their range until I could jump.
Yeah, you don't, and especially the from what I've heard, the meta is this day and age, it tends to be closer range. I'll just say that. So yeah, if you can outrun them, then you're gonna a lot.
Interesting.
Less
Interesting you mentioned that, because
I'm also. That comes with the caveat is I am out of touch, and it's just.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, you could be completely right. I say I have no real sort of deep insight into sort of modern PvP anyway, so.
I've probably got. I've got more of an idea.
Yeah.
Even in my just returning days, I've probably got more of it.
Nice.
The only thing I will say that's kind of connected with what you were talking about in terms of like the tendency most people tend to be short range. That's no doubt true. One thing I do remember at the top of my head, because he said it himself. Remember Harry Potter? A somewhat successful and famous, obviously, PvP guy. He actually specialised in very long range sniping. And that's one thing I've always remembered, thinking that's quite an interesting way of doing it. Yeah.
Harry used to do a lot of Heliograph. I had a few interactions with him. I used to be involved in PvP groups. Spoke to him a few times on voice chats.
Yeah. But still, there's more than one way to blow up a ship, so I suppose there's probably whole different approaches.
One of the things I used to love doing back when I was with, this is going back to old Delta Centauri, back when I used to be with Halo's Armada, with some of my mates, and we, in a time for a period, we did a intense PvP gig, and it was TV2, and I was against one of my best mates, a guy called Minnie Water, and he said to me, so he like we were going up against each other, and he purposely brought fast because he knew it kind of countered my playstyle. And then what happened was I'd done some engineering so he admitted that he enjoyed fighting me because, like, so as this PvP battle turned out, like I'd engineered my FDL with fast banks, and I also brought a different loadout, one that he wasn't expecting, and I kept him off guard. And I still died before he did, but I lasted way longer. I've got my.
That was nice fight, I presume.
Yeah, so it was 2 FDLs versus a Python and FDL, and the Python pilot was a really good Python pilot. Like, not many people, that guy doesn't play the game anymore, but Python, if you knew how to use a Python, and you could like manage it properly, it could be a bloody dangerous and scary ship. But not many people could, and that's why like FDLs were so prominent, and still are so prominent, you know, obviously. But yeah, unfortunately my wingmate decided to play ping pong with a load of the, so we did it in some ice rings, and unfortunately my wingmate decided to play ping pong with a load of the rocks. So we lost the fight, but still I made it as competitive as I could. Yeah, back when that was some really fun days back in when I used to fly with Eidos. Before we left Eidos and stuff like that. But that's like 2017, 2018 that happened. Yeah, it would have been around 2017 that happened.
Okay. Yeah, it's well, it sounds like the whole PvP scene was quite alive in those days. So with leagues.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
everything.
I'll say I sort of left the PvP community around 2018, 2019. So I took my break from it. It was fun. A lot of good pilots were still playing. So I can't say how good pilots are now. I'm sure there's still some good pilots around. I'm not gonna go.
Sure thing.
Throwing shade at anyone or like saying, "Oh yeah, the pilots these days are worse." That's no point. I don't have a read on people. Then I'm sure there's a lot of people that kick my ass. You know, I was a decent pilot back in the day, but I wasn't the best. I did have the pleasure of training with some of the best pilots in the game though. So.
Yeah, makes sense. But as you say, it's like, you know, there's probably still some good people around.
Yeah.
Worth a challenge.
Yeah, and like, and why I always sort of say to people, there's the talk about PvP versus PvE pilots, and I'm just like, any half decent PvP pilot will rinse a PvE pilot.
Yeah.
It's night and day. Like, it's too, like, PvE is very easy. Fargoid combat's a bit different. I don't have a read on it enough, so I can't comment. But at least between regular PvE and PvP, it's skill-wise, there's a gulf. And that's why I've sort of said to people in the past, like, and it's why I've always had the attitude of like, if you want to get good, you have to practice with the people who are good and try and learn that way.
You have to practice with get good.
Yeah, you have to practice. I mean, like I said, so back when I was with Eidos Armada, it was top 2 with PvP groups in the game so in the PvP leagues and stuff that were going on, it was usually between AA and STC, because there were whether people like to admit it or not, there were a lot of bloody good pilots in
55 jump to the waypoint 2. I love long jump ships.
There were a lot of bloody good pilots in STC. Much as people don't
No doubt.
They were scary for a reason. Like I said, they had some of the best pilots in the game. Who knew what they were doing, and bloody hell,
Untrustworthy notification. Field scope size 4 is more than enough.
Yeah, having
Only
been
like scouting.
on the receiving end of the tender mercies of SDC, their coordination, I thought, was actually the most
just
remarkable
enough.
thing
Just
about them. It's like their actual individual piloting skills were impressive, but the fact they did seem to be like fighting genuinely as a unit, at least against us, anyway.
Well, that was more just experience with just the good PvP groups and decent PvP groups in general. Was like, so my whole thing was wing fighting, and if you get people who are a bit experienced, you know, it's wing fighting becomes pretty easy. Like you just have like one guy coordinating. It's like everyone knows what they're doing. You know, like you've got someone like you can coordinate things. Like Alpha Strikes was basically holding fire on people and then suddenly switching target onto one person, and you could delete people. There is a
in
video
just 10 seconds.
So you say that, but so back when I was with Alios Armada, Chaos YouTuber, he came to Erebate and some Walls of Juno were talking smack to us. A confrontation occurred. 2 PvE Corvettes, a DBX and a Vulture versus 3 PvP. 3 PvP FDLs flown by decent pilots, and a PvP for Anaconda, which was glass cannon, but flown by I'd probably say one of the top 10 pilots in the game. We Alpha Strike them, and the Corvettes died in 20 seconds. There's a couple of videos out there on YouTube. They got deleted, and to be fair to them, they took it on the chin. They were like, yeah, we got smacked. And they didn't come back. You know, they took it on the chin as you should in that sort of situation.
Yeah. No, I agree.
If you're going to talk smack to a group that's known for PvP and does PvP all the time, you're asking for trouble.
No, it's true. I've always said this to people. It's like, even if you do get PvP'd by somebody else, you know, ultimately, as you say, you should just take it on the chin and just, you know, take it as a loss. Because some people, obviously, they think about, you know, trying to combat log, and I think that's always a bad idea.
No.
Apart from being against the TOS, it's like, look, you get destroyed once. I mean, it's annoying, but that's kind of it, really.
And the thing is, so what I would say as well is when people encounter gangers, they want the soul. If you give them a reaction, they are going to farm you. They will go after you because they know that they can get soul from you and they will target you. Because that's what they want. They want a reaction, you know. But if you take it on their chin, you know, like you just say like GG or whatever, or you just shrug it off. Because at the end of the day, it's not obviously annoying to get blown up, but at the same time, realistically, rebuying Elite is not that expensive.
Yeah.
It's like 5% or something base rebuy.
Also, it's quite easy to get out if you have boost and shields.
Yeah, if you built your shield up a little bit, it is not hard.
And if you're not,
you just high wake, and you can just high wake away. But like if you're going to like a CG system, just have what I say is have a high wake destination set. So if you do get in trouble, you can just high wake away. And high wake isn't affected by math lock or anything like that, so you can just get away. Especially with like how I've seen now the double.
But I can laugh in my cutter with good boost.
A cutter should never, realistically, a cutter should never die.
If only not decide to stay and fight.
I mean, in general, like
with the wall wing of gang of 3 small ships with biggest guns.
Yeah, cutters are always a pain in the ass to kill unless they had if they had a thermal resist hull, like thermal resist, like they hadn't engineered the boosters properly, so like shields are weak to thermal resist to thermal weapons, so like lasers. You could just use lasers to cut right through them, and they would die scarily quickly, or surprisingly quickly even. You know, but again, that's but like there's tools out there, there's resources out there, there's information, just like try to get mega jewels into ship, of course, but also try to balance the resist. So I'm not quite sure on how it would affect versus meta shit builds these days, but there's getting ganked is avoidable. Obviously certain builds, obviously you're gonna get hit. Like obviously exploration builds, naturally gonna be more glass cannon, like cannon. You know what I mean? You're gonna
Like
be
a
more
friend of
horrible.
mine saying, even the exploration ship can be armored enough.
Yeah.
And pretty versatile.
Yeah.
And his name is Rustnet, probably.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it depends on how much you want to sacrifice. you know, if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of jump range, you can get a
Yeah.
surprising amount of
You're
survivability out.
sacrificing just a bit of it, but you get a good ship.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, so one of my favorite things I used to love doing was theory crafting. I had, like I said again in my AA days, I had so many different. Yeah. I just see what Andy said. Yeah, Andy said remember my name. But yeah, so one of the things I used to love doing was theory crafting with different weapons, and I was sort of like, I had so many different weapons for my FDL. I had so many different loadouts I could bring. I had 4 hit scan builds. I think I had 4 shell cannon builds. I think at one point I even tried a rapid fire screening shell frag build, just for the memes. It was surprisingly fun. And we had also one in the big group at the time had a rapid fire screening shell clipper, and it was just memes. It was just funny. It wasn't the build it wasn't especially good. It was just, like I said, just a walking meme. It was just funny, you know, like that hard back to always saying about variety is the spice of life, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. I wonder, assuming most of those sort of big early game PvP groups are probably dissolved by now anyway.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was the core of the PvPers, including myself and Mini Wire and a few others, we all left. We formed our own group, and then that own group left the game. we just like realized we're all burnt out, and we all left. You know, there's still some people around from that era. You know, back when I used to play, I've still got some of the PvPers on my friends list. You know, yeah, and I've seen them since I came back. I've seen them log on. You know, so I was like, they're probably still a decent pilot.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, but a lot of the like really skilled ones, I think, have left. But you know, but I'm sure there's still, like I said, I'm not going to talk smack about anyone. I'm sure there's still some good pilots out there.
Yeah.
I've got my own, I've still got my own people that there's one particular guy I like to wind up, but I'm not going to go into that now. Yeah, there's a guy who uses a set tactic that I like to wind him up. But yeah, no, like I said, I'm sure there's still some good pilots out there, you know, who do know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this is an obvious thought. You've probably seen discussed this in the last sort of week or two, but obviously with the activity, shall we say, the excitement about a possible, how you will it, Distant Worlds 3 coming up, it's like that's wonderful exploration community, but there is also the potential shadow side of that, is in more combat pilots turning up.
Distant Worlds 3. How much command might get her up? We failed at already 3 of the commanders in one instance.
So I'd be extremely surprised if they're I'm not going to put money on it because I'm not a betting man. But I would, if I were a betting man, I would put money on it that they will be almost certainly be yank attempts on Distant Worlds.
Yeah.
It's that sort of big expedition that's going to be a prime target, and I completely understand why.
Yeah, I already saw you the probably tongue-in-cheek, but maybe even half-true Distant Gangs 3 being talked about by somebody online. It's like, I'm not surprised.
I know.
It's gonna become in Fleetcom, definitely.
There will always be people who, you know, I have no doubt that there are going to be people that gang Distant Worlds.
Oh yeah, they'll try, but they won't get anywhere because it's not going to be an open. So you know.
No, but there will still be.
Yeah, I know.
Break rules. There
of
will
course.
Still be people that infiltrate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then they infiltrate.
You can't completely stop it. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's one of those things that try and say, oh yeah, we're going to be able to 100% stop it with any expedition, is ignorant.
Just like cancer of the community.
Yeah, it's just highly unrealistic. You know, you're never going to be able to stop everything.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's in the end of the day, it's a game that has thousands of people playing it. You know, there's always going to be some stuff like that happens. You know, it's just not trying to be naive about it. And I know that the people involved in Distant Worlds 3, you know, they're seasoned explorers, you know. They know what they're doing. It's not their first rodeo, you know.
Of course, no, that you're right. They take it very seriously, and yeah, they've done a good job of it over the years, and I think they will continue to do that. But as you say, it's like, yeah, it's as always. You can do your best. You can keep like 99% out, and that's pretty good. If you keep 99% out, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's then also reminding people that do come on the expedition, just like, don't feed them. Don't do whatever you do not feed them.
Yeah.
I'm sure as well that there's going to be plenty of carriers going with Distant Worlds 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all these things are balanced and how it actually sort of turns out, because obviously you've seen probably the threads in like the official Frontier forum, in FleetCon, wherever places. Okay, fair enough.
I don't look on the forums very much.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't look on the forums very much.
Yeah.
But I've got like I guess from my experience with the PvP community, I can predict certain things.
Yeah.
In terms of, like I've been good friends with some gankers and stuff. So.
No, you're right. None of it is particularly surprising. Any of the comments, I was
No.
just sort of using that as an example of like people, you know, shit talking at the moment, even this early stage. But yeah,
it's expected. It's
of
expected.
course, yeah, it'll happen. But yeah, it's good to see excitement though from the exploration community.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Any sort of like, as much as I've been critical of Frontier in the past, at the end of the day, like, I think it's the common case with all of us jaded veterans. I would still class myself as a somewhat jaded veteran. At the end of the day, we become jaded because we want the game to get. We care about the game. We've all been passionate about it at some point.
Yeah.
And there are obviously some people that still are passionate. I mean, I'm still fairly passionate about the game, I'd say. You know, I'm still coming back to it. But at the same time, at the end of the day, people want the game to do well. It's still my most played game on Steam by far. I tell people how many hours I've got, and they're just like, what the fuck? Sorry. I'm trying to keep my swearing.
You know, it's okay. You're doing a pretty good job. I think once in a blue moon you can get away with it. Well, yeah.
I considering, yeah, you haven't been on voice with me that much.
It's okay. I'm not having a go at the moment, so you're doing fine. Put it that way.
I know.
You're doing fine.
If people have been around me casually when I'm not on someone's stream or anything, I swear a lot. I swear like a sailor. To use that trope, I swear a lot. But
It's
I'm not going to get into all that sort of debate now.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. But yeah, it's just to say, it's like, no matter what, you know, say the words citizen people had before, if Frontier, you know, do genuinely get involved in Distant Worlds 3, that would be wonderful. If they don't, then I think there'll be probably a good event put on. I'm assuming that's the way it'll play out, because at the moment, obviously, you probably picked this up anyway, but Eramis deliberately sort of put a post into the Frontier forums, and I think it's obviously been shared around in various other discords and stuff, about like how interested will people be in doing Distant Worlds 3 just to test the waters, because I think you'd have to be kind of pretty ignorant elite to think that there wouldn't be interest, but just how much interest I think he was trying to gauge. And it's like, because if you've got all this interest all of a sudden from the community kind of blatantly, it's sort of harder for FDev to ignore it. So you know, it's
100%.
I mean, who knows what FDev will or will not do at this point? I mean, your guess is literally as good as mine, but I mean, we can just cross our fingers and hope that they will, because obviously there's a big colonization update coming up. We don't know how that's going to go. It could go any number of ways, and the beta will obviously be revealing to like the basic mechanics of it. And I mean, across my fingers.
I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Exactly the same that I feel at the moment. Yeah, I will take it one step at a time.
Yeah, and I think in terms of it coming right, the timing of it coming right after the Fargoid War, that's perfect. That's exactly what, you know. Nice change of pace, like we just had that. The Fargoid War went on for like a year or so, didn't it? Like
I think it's about about with rebuild some destroyed cities and settlements.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, I
just
mean-
building new ones only. Because that's the same after update.
It's been 2 years actually. I think the Thargoid War, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was about 2 years.
It could be longer actually, because I think it actually started just as Passage to Andromeda was winding down, and that was what 2022, I think. So
I think it was. So I remember because I'd had a. Oh, I can't remember. Because trying to think. Because I remember I did come back at the start of the full-blown Fargoid War in terms of like and when I say Fargoid War, I mean invasion of the bubble.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
And skirmishes had been going on for a while before that, out at like Maya and stuff like that. You could.
I also got
early
Blackshot
skirmishes.
on shot down with Brewers 1.
Yeah. But yeah, it's as you say, it's like now at the end of the Thargoid War has come, and it would be an interesting change of pace, whether that's connected with the this new colonization update or not.
Also remember, we had processed citizens saved from the Titans.
Oh yeah,
Sleeping agents.
It's an interesting point. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that. Really.
I mean, there will be some fallout to the Fargoid War in some respect. I'm personally hoping we don't pursue them to their own space because, I just worry like people will get the chance to be going for to wipe out a race. People will, and I would personally not like to see that. I am anti-genocide like that. And there is also, I think there's, if people who know the law more deeply, it's way more complicated than what has occurred in Elite Dangerous in the game. It's far more complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had hints with the with INRA, but it's way more complicated than that. So
yeah,
that's why I'm just like, that's why I was sort of like, I forget what the term is, like conscientious objector or something to the Fargoid War. Like I was just like, right, let's not go on the aggressive out in the Pleiades. Let's not let's be careful. This is an alien race we're dealing with.
Yeah, it's not quite conscious objection, but it's something close to it. I know what you mean. It's like super cautious fighting, basically.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, as I'm saying that, I'm not talking down on the people who are fully anti-Xeno, because in terms of content and how much how to engage and how we could engage with farmers, it was extremely limited, and combat was the main way we could do it. So I'm not talking smack. I would never sort of talk down on people who didn't choose that option, but I totally get why they did.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you say, it's like there is going to be, as you alluded to, there's going to be some kind of hangover from the Thargoid War, and I have a suspicion that some of the colonization content, even if it's just alluding to that, it will be kind of mentioned as part of the sort of connected lore, even if they don't actually encounter any new sort of Thargoid bits and bobs, because as you were sort of also alluding to, Delta, is that in the Elite Deep lore, even before Elite Dangerous, there's talks obviously about the Thargoids' actual home world, or at least their colony worlds, or these ammonia worlds, and it's that's an angle that's never really been properly explored.
Yeah, I think some of the things that I think a lot of the worlds that they on their invasion of the bubble, a lot of the systems Barsol had ammonia worlds. So I think it was a case of them, even that sort of fact that they mainly chose systems with ammonia worlds. So but even that was interesting, but yeah, just obviously some of the lore is a bit patchy on. Okay, does this apply to the game? Does it not? There's some of the really interesting stuff. Obviously I used to really enjoy it back in the day.
Yeah, I think this has been universally mentioned, or almost universally mentioned, that all of the Elite lore could kind of do with a bit of a sort of a once-over, or someone not necessarily always Drew Wager, but he could be one of the authors who would do so, because he's not the only Elite book writer out there. There's a few of them that have done quite a good job. And if they had a sort of, they got together one day and had a conference over the lore or something, just to kind of tidy up and make it kind of a bit more cohesive, and then move that, not necessarily publish it all, but then move that as sort of game lore going forward, that would be really cool thing to do.
Just have okay, we're gonna have people who are, their sole focus is dedicated story, and obviously there are, I'm sure, I'm not privy to anything in Ten or to Frontier, I'm sure they've got their own people that do lore, but it's not been oh hey, we have a clear narrative team for a while now.
Yeah, because there's definitely eras of Elite Dangerous that the lore has been kind of better. I think we're talking relatively early on in the first few years of the game. There were definitely people who at least, or game directors or producers who at least had kind of one eye on where the lore arc was going. I think the Thargoid War obviously has kind of, because of its very nature, had to have some kind of narrative arc going on, but it doesn't necessarily connect brilliantly well with the previous kind of lore. It does, but it, it kind of doesn't in different respects, and it's all out there on the web if anyone wants to look this up. It's pretty interesting, but like one thing is quite nice in game, I will say, to the positive, is that there's still those INRA bases, not INARA but INRA, the naval Inter-Naval Collaboration Institution, whatever it was called, whatever the acronym for INRA was. Is it Inter-Naval Research Arm or something like that?
I can't remember.
But it's something along those lines anyway. It's supposed to be like a federal imperial joint venture essentially, and it's usually mostly dealing with the Thargoids. And obviously there's the abandoned INRA base that you find. They're quite spooky locations. They're well worth a visit. They're all in the bubble or there or thereabouts, like a few hundred light years outside the bubble in some cases. But they're genuinely nice places to visit. Well, they're not nice places to visit. They're actually kind of supposed to be like horror show places to visit. But they're interesting places to visit, I should say. Nice is probably not the right word.
But interesting,
yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, and that's sort of stuff I'm into.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this. This was maybe quite a few years ago, maybe about 5 or 6 years now, that there was one Halloween, there was a guy who, I think he ran some of the relatively larger sort of elite player groups, who actually put together like a sort of spooky Halloween elite tour, which is sort of visited like a lot of these old INRA places and other sort of spooky locations. I think one of them was also a settlement, like an abandoned mining settlement, that sort of like a local Thargoid interceptor was like hanging around, and it would like appear from time to time like over the cliff, and it was quite interesting really, the fact that like this one evening he'd spent flying around these sort of spooky locations, and it was pretty nice actually.
That's cool.
He's kind of obviously a big fan of the lore there and stuff like that. I appreciate, yeah. But it's all good though. But yeah, I think, as you say yourself, I feel the same as I'm sort of cautiously optimistic about everything that's sort of being proposed now, and it's. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about sort of the future of the game, and it's always good to see people excited about it.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially now the end of the Thargoid Wars, and you say also the fact that it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, there seems to be like more excitement now around DW3 potentially coming out and being a thing than there was ever about the Thargoid War. That was popular, but not in the same way. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard because different crowds.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd say that it's different crowds because, as much as obviously we're familiar with the Explorer playbase, at the same time, like we both admit, we're not, neither of us familiar with the anti-Zero side,
Yeah.
Like we can't sort of say, oh hey, we can speak for them. See, among the Explorer playbase, we can absolutely see and hear from our circles that oh hey, there is a lot of hype around it. Obviously, understandably, Distant Worlds is kind of, I guess, seen as the pinnacle, I guess, like the premier exploration expeditions,
Yeah.
What's so soon unexplored planets? Interesting.
Nice.
I think there is a certain overlap between, there are a fair few players who are explorers and who joined up with the anti-Xeno crowd, as you say, during the beginning of the Thargoid War. It's probably something else to do for a while and engage with all that content, and yeah, that makes sense. I know Commander Sargon was saying that earlier. I think he got quite heavily involved with that. I think Dr. Nagi did. A few other people did too. But it's probably still a minority of the exploration community overall. I think, as we've alluded to, a lot of explorers, maybe because they are explorers, tended to sort of do something a bit more like rescue orientated. Because because I think it was kind of it's kind of easy to get into that in a way in terms of like you didn't need like the extremely well engineered ships, because I think it's also, as you said, and me similarly, I don't have all these Guardian unlocks. I have obviously a couple of them. Like I have like one weapon. Obviously I have the booster, which is the FSD boost. It's the easiest one to get anyway, and for an explorer that's the one that you want. And the rest of them, it's like I've got bits and pieces of Guardian sort of materials, but I don't actually have like all these unlocks, which a lot of people do. And it's like I'll probably get them at some point, but it's not ever been like an urgent thing for me.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest complaints I heard about anti-Xeno combat was the barrier to entry was too high.
Oh yeah.
And it was like the way that it was kind of difficulty as well. You know, which difficulty is always a hard one to balance anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, the whole barrier to entry for flying combat was you know, well, obviously, you know, it's supposed to be hard, you know, but you know, that's the thing with AX combat it was a high barrier to entry, fairly high. I mean, obviously, it's got way better as time's gone on.
Yeah.
Like obviously, certain modules becoming basically unlocked, you know, just like available, you know, and stuff like the heat sinks and stuff, and the caustic sinks, for example.
Yeah.
That getting removed, the barrier to entry for that one being removed was great. It needed to be done. Probably shouldn't have been one in the first place. But you know, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. As you say, it's like for those of you who may not pay so much attention to the Thargoid stuff, or you needed really like the main regular engineers all to be unlocked. And then you needed all this Guardian stuff as well. You had to be like spend a lot of time on Guardian sites finding all these bits and pieces, and to actually unlock everything. So you needed both. You needed human unlocks, you needed Guardian unlocks as well, and you spent a lot of time doing that.
Because the main one you wanted on, because I mainly looked at whole tank builds, and for that you need Slean G, her chain. So I would have unlocked her back in 2017, so bloody coming up on, yeah, it's coming up on 8 years ago. Jesus Christ! Because I got into PvP when they removed back when they. Do you remember when commodities used to be required for every engineer role?
Oh, I definitely do. Yeah, it was like some of it was quite hard to find as well.
Yeah, so I did not get into combat or engineering properly, full stop, until they removed commodities. So, see, as time has gone on, things have gone way better, like random roles being removed.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. Oh hey, oh yeah, so if you want to max out grade 5, you just need 5 rolls, and I was like, great, that's ideal, because it used to be that it was random.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was random if you do, literally every roll was completely random, so you didn't know if you're going to luck out, we would get complete rubbish.
There's one thing I noticed, as you sort of alluded to there as well, is that I've heard, I can't remember if it was Potter or one of the other SDC crew, mentioning that they would spend like an inordinate amount of time gaining materials and commodities and everything, and then just spending also an inordinate amount of time going through the random RNGs to get these extreme sort of improbable, like once in a sort of, I don't know, 1,000 rolls kind of thing, almost. And so you'd have to be like super dedicated to get to that point even, but they got them like the absolute best weapons, and it made a lot of sense as to like why sometimes they'd be able to crack people's like even quite decent shields quite quickly.
And part of that, again, there was also the skill.
There is that too. Yeah.
It's called shock mines.
What is?
It wasn't shock. They weren't using shock mines back then.
Oh right.
Or anything like that.
No, I was thinking of like a railgun. There was like a super railgun that was actually very effective. I can't remember which one it was.
No, I mean, again, you know, people did grind out a lot. Obviously, you know, having god rolls weren't an automatic I win, because someone still had decent rolls. You know, it would then be still had like fairly good rolls. It would then still come down to skill. You know?
Yeah.
But then obviously SDC, most of SDC behind them. You know, the backing of the, they had the skill to back that up. You know.
Yeah. No
which is
doubt.
a
Yeah.
large factor.
No, you're right. It's like they were very skilled people.
Yeah.
Actually, you probably laugh at this because those of you who watched my previous expedition of this a few years ago, Passage to Andromeda, might recall this one. I think it was like the second to last meet that we had. There was this guy who was like a wannabe ganker, as in like he wasn't very good at it. Yeah, he was some dude.
I remember
He was
this.
trying to
This was
copy
hard.
like
This was
SDC,
great.
because SDC, to be fair to you, say were very high level pilots. They were very good at what they did. They spent a lot of time and effort getting these god rolls, these brilliant collections of weapons and ship
with each
together.
other.
And also they were quite good at winding up their opponents. They knew how to get under people's skin, generally speaking. Some were worse than others. Some of them didn't care about that, but some of them did. But he was like trying to do, and he did all of these things badly. He was not a good combat pilot. His equipment was not that amazing, and his attempts to troll us were just so cringe. It was like, what the hell?
It's just the expedition where I was on, but it was one meetup that I wasn't there for.
Yeah, ironically, yeah.
Yeah, so that was bloody hilarious.
I think he was stopped really quickly as well by a bunch of explorers.
So it was sort of, it was one expedition, the one meetup that I couldn't make.
Yeah.
And what happened was he showed up. He got chased up by a lot of you guys who
Yeah.
just had like generic sort of combat ships. I have every confidence that if I had been there, I would have wiped the floor with them.
That would have been so funny. That would have been the funniest thing ever.
It would have been hilarious just to see me absolutely skill check, and just like it wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't have been fair. Like
Yeah.
just seeing like someone who was actually competent, and like, back then I was still within top 50 pilots at least. I think there are times where I think I got around top 30, top 40 pilots on PC. That's just rough, pure speculation. It's just
Yeah.
Speaking to people who around that time, I knew I was a decent pilot back in the day, so I would have absolutely wiped the floor with this guy, and it would not have been fair.
Oh yeah, he was all ego. It was so funny because I think you and I talked about, probably on the stream as well at the time, that it was a case of, look, you personally have flown against the best at another event and another group, nothing to do with my expeditions. We got ganked by SDC, and it was like on YouTube. It's probably still there now. I can laugh at it now. At the time, it was just really annoying. But it's like, if you've actually been hit by the best or one of the best, it's just like, and you've got this sort of wannabe, and it was just like they were like a fifth-rate gank. It was so embarrassing. Like most people, most explorers, they tried to be a gank would be better than this guy was, basically. And then,
I don't think it's quite that bad.
well, he's kind of getting on for it, you know what I mean? He was kind of lame, because I think a bunch of explorers did kind of can him anyway, so it's probably not that much of an exaggeration, kind of thinking.
I think he maybe got one or two people, but then they got chased off.
Yeah.
The hilarious thing as well was around that is mostly seeing me and staff, and people would try to frame it as, oh hey, thank you to Delta Centauri for leaking us this information. Lol, what?
Yeah.
No. And the rest of the season, Yannick, yourself, this is utter BS, don't believe
Of course it is, yeah.
And it was just like, it would have been. It's one of those things. Whenever I remember it, I'm just like, I so wish I was there.
It was the lamest attempt at psychological warfare I'd ever seen. It's like, you do realise that if any of these people had wanted it get it in for the expedition or anyone on it, they would have done it a long time before.
Well, no.
And they've done it better as well.
It was around the timing that I kind of expected.
Yeah.
But it was the thing is if it was someone like SDC or even like Nomads, obviously Nomads weren't really a thing back then around the time of that expedition, really.
Yeah.
I think Nomads were probably still fledgling, but like they would have been a massacre. They would have been straight up a massacre. They would have been people, even just that one, still massacred people. But it was bloody hilarious, and I remember watching the video and just like, you're horrendous, you're awful, you're a gank, and you're talking all this smack.
Yeah.
and if I'd been there, you'd have gotten hit. I remember there was a few times, not necessarily in gankers, but times where I'd fought people who had wannabe PvPers, just in training fights.
Mhm.
And I remember one particular one I fought someone that was down a hard point because I had Grom bombs on a the power play module to reset people's FSD, so I was basically down a hard point, FDL versus FDL, and I completely wiped the floor with this other person. It wasn't even fair. And someone who'd like, oh yeah, I'm decent at combat, I'm fairly good at PvP. Nope, I massacred him. That was, I wasn't even at my best then, I was still learning.
No, you don't listen at all.
There was a few times, like I said, I was mainly more of a weak fire. I didn't tend to do 1v1s, but there are times where, like I said, if it was PvEers versus me, it would, like I said, it showed the skill gap between PvEers and PvPers.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not like shit talking anyone. It's just reality of it. I mean,
Yeah.
People who have been experienced with that gap say, like obviously, like you've seen it yourself firsthand. There is a massive gap.
No doubt, yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? As you say, for a bunch of different reasons, that's definitely the case. And as you say, there's no shame in it. It's just two very sort of different kind of professions, almost, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, PvE is fairly easy. And if you've got engineering in Elite, PvE is very easy to do. You can run basically with most builds. You can run whatever you want. PvP, you have to be skilled. You have to practice with good people, and learn, and like be active and like, right, what did I mistake here? Did I stall out on this turn? Like learning to toggle FA flight assist on and off. When to do it. When to boost properly. One of the things I used to be sort of good at was I had a very high pressure brawling style where I would get in people's faces. At the time I was probably fairly unique about it, and just how aggressive I was. And if people weren't used to it, I could make them panic, and I would beat them that way. Because I would just be brawling like I said. I had fights against some of the better PvP pilots in the game, and I made it interesting because I would just be so aggressive. They would have to focus, they'd have to control range against me, because if they didn't, I would, I could catch them off guard. I could, I never beat them. I always lost those fights, but it was still, and obviously if it was certain skill gap, like some of the people in STC it would have absolutely wiped the floor of me. I'm talking like if I'd ever gone 1v1 against Rinsler, he would have shat on me. Rinsler was a bloody good pilot.
No doubt, yeah.
I don't even know how well I would have done against Harry. Harry would have probably beaten me. But Harry also used to do a lot of countering other people's builds.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting, isn't it?
One of the things I just like, looking back, it's like I've got so many stories from this game. Yesterday, actually, it was 9 years since I set my first record in Elite. 9 years since I did the first 0-second rescue in Furence. It was 9 hours of 1st of February. It would have been, that would have been 2016. Early hours of 1st of February 2016.
Yeah.
I rescued someone and the refuel was successful, just as their oxygen timer ticked to 0 seconds.
Just in time.
Yeah, literally perfect timing. So yeah, that's like one of my earliest things I'm proud of.
That's a kind of unique achievement there, I think.
There's a few people who have done it since.
Yeah.
But I was the first one to do it. So it's kind of like whenever I sort of go back to the theorize, I'm just like, I know what I'm doing. I'm just like, it's one of those things. I'm just like, I mean, I've got like 50, 60 rescues with the fuel routes now.
That's cool.
I was tempted to bring out the ship that I did it in, because I did it in an adder.
Ah.
I did it in an adder of all things, an unengineered adder.
Well, if it works, it works. That's the important thing.
I mean, it was back then. I didn't have enough credits from Asp Explorer, so I was ratting back then. I was ratting HMS Fergley. But yeah, Yeah, and then we'll see. At the start of the year, I hit 9 years as a viewer. Although most of that I haven't been inactive, but still, you know.
That's cool, though.
I go back and where I used to do it so much. It's all muscle memory for me, and I'm just like, right, bang, bang, bang. I hit the alert go off, and I see, I'm just like, bang, bang, focus, bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I don't think I've actually heard that story from yours before, but that's a good one, definitely.
There was the guy who recorded it, but because it was the guy recorded and what it became metal, and basically because of the various changes to that, the video is no longer up. But there was the guy did post his point of view, proved it.
Cool.
So that's like the one of the earliest. Like, I'm not someone who's really made my name out there, but I've done a few things.
Yeah, I think those who know you very much respect you, so that's a good position to be in. Yeah.
And I'm not as you know, like I'm not someone that particularly goes, oh look at how great I am. I'm not that sort of person at all.
Yeah, no.
I'm not a boastful person in the slightest.
Yeah, I think to be fair, most people I sort of know in the game don't tend to be that anyway. So it's it's more of a common thing. So, but yeah. I do know exactly what you mean. But it's we will try to have as much fun as we can, and that's the most important thing. Really, just enjoy what you're doing. Really.
Exactly. It is really. We're all here to have fun, you know, and obviously, you know, some people kill people for that, other people for their fun, and it is what it is. You just gotta. It's frustrating. It is, and, you know, it can wipe off hours of progress. You know, and I understand why people do get a bit salty. You know, times when they do get killed, but at the same time, you know, just being aware of the risks.
Yeah.
It can happen. You know, and it's just like, well, it sucks. But it's a learning experience, and what you can do is just learn and try and improve and move on.
I think, you know what, it's interesting, you hit on something quite, I only just really thought of, because you look at the way the game's evolved over the years. I think in the early game, we're talking about really sort of sort of 2019, 2020 kind of era. Basically, before the time that you would have that many stations or even like carriers and what have you to dock in, and then if you got annihilated but you hadn't really sort of docked locally, then it could be super annoying, because you would get set back so far, it would take you a while to sort of recover to where you wanted to go again, and that could be genuinely super annoying if that happened to you. Yeah.
Especially if you had like a little bit of exploration data, but at the same time, what I'd sort of say to people, if you're going into a system that's high traffic with little exploration data, be aware of the risks, and at that point, you know, when I'm coming back from exploration trips, I don't care, I use solo player.
Yeah, that's quite a wise move.
Solo player or one of the various private, smaller private groups I've got access to, that I know that I'm 100% secure.
You know, I agree. I think that's just common for most explorers, isn't it? You tend to stick to, as you say, the safer sort of routes back, and those are the best ways. But yeah, it's great fun, and this expedition, fingers crossed, seems to go off to a good start. I did worry for a while that I was probably starting it a bit too early, but then again, it's in the middle of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, so a lot of people were going to be indoors, so maybe it's a good time for this. It's it's an interesting point. Though, to be fair, also in terms of like other things going on, I mean, even if DW3 happens, it's not going to be for a while. Yeah, like probably wait till, you know, not this year by the looks of it, if it does happen sort of at all. But yeah, because there's going to be a build-up, a very long build-up for that. But yeah, because I said, it's the only thing I was slightly sort of, not doubting, but slightly concerned that I might have actually just done this too much at the last minute comparatively. But, you know, it's just one of those things. I suppose when I did like Apollo 15 and 11, it's like those were very specific anniversaries, like synced into the 50th anniversary. So it was like you do it at that moment or you don't do it at all. But this one is isn't really linked to the particular anniversary. It's just, this is a cool thing to do, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you're trying to wait around for the perfect time for everything, you'll be waiting for eternity.
Probably,
like
yeah.
and you're never going to be look at me being like, oh yeah, don't wait around. You know, there's not someone who struggles with anxiety.
You do what you can.
What a nice choice to water a world.
I'm good
Nobody
at
mapped it yet.
Nice.
I'll be
I'm good at
back in just 1 second, so talk amongst yourselves, sorry.
Okay. I'm back in a sec as well.
Sorry about that. Okay. Right, sorry, where were we? With a couple more sign-ups in the meantime. That's good, that's good. Yeah, the Mandalay seems like a very popular ship now. It's understandably why.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm excited for it when it gets. I'm not going to use my arcs on it, so I'm just waiting for it to become available to everyone, and then I'm because I'm going to buy one or two.
That's totally fair. I only bought one because the expedition was starting anyway, and B, I was just too curious. I couldn't really resist that because I think I'd spent my previous arcs, which I'd accumulated, on buying a Python Mark II. So I didn't quite realise when I bought the Python that the Mandalay would come out so soon. I thought it was going to be many more months before it did. So, but yeah, I mean, I've got all the new ships, and they're all nice, I would say, and they seem to put quite a bit of thought into these ones. So I mean, that's a good sign, I think, in itself. Suppose you could say also that the fact the Mandalay and the Type 8 are actually new ships as opposed to evolutions of existing designs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I haven't really played with the Python as much, the Python Mark II. Some people say that obviously it's quite a good combat ship, but like maybe it is, but I've not really been using it for that, so I can't really tell you. Doesn't look like it might have been designed for combat though, I want to say. It doesn't seem to be designed for quite the all-rounder that the Python 1 was.
Yeah, I think it's, from what I've heard, it's undersized power plant or distro. From what I've heard, it's all opposite.
Yeah, maybe possibly even an AX design in mind when they designed it. Who knows?
It's one of the things hard to say.
Yeah, interesting piece of speculation. But yeah, I've flown the Type 8 and the new Python, maybe a lot, well, quite a little bit less than the Mandalay for obvious reasons. But yeah, I've got them parked sort of back in the bubble, so they're perfectly nice though. Oh, I did use the Cobra 5 on the pre-launch meet last week. It just filled up with fuel tanks and funny, I didn't actually run out of fuel for SCO. My problem was actually just slowing down from SCO speed was the biggest issue. But yeah, that's a whole new sort of technique in itself, a whole new racing technique, because every different ship seems to handle differently in SCO boost, so it's kind of like riding a wild mule to some degree, and you've got to keep the thing straight by watching your fuel and making sure you don't overshoot by too much. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge in its own way. It's kind of fun, really. I mean, ship racing events might be a thing on this expedition depending on how many people have sort of bought them. Obviously I'm trying to discourage the use of, like, you know, just bring everything on a carrier and just be a carrier-centric expedition and make it a bit more about exploring with an exploration ship again. But I'm not going to turn down the chance if people have actually bought ships, racing ships, to do that. So yeah, but that's the point. As you said, it's the invention of carriers. It's about sort of not getting rid of carriers or ignoring them, but by sort of using them in a sort of sensible way that sort of you don't become too reliant on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously, like the DSSA sort of network and the Star Network, etc., are kind of useful places to refuel and repair anyway. So I thought, well, that's kind of good enough, really.
Carrier's definitely having something interesting to do.
Obvious piece of
Yeah.
speculation with DW3 and carriers is obviously like there'll have to be restrictions, probably imposed somehow on how many carriers are going to be in the system, because that's going to be just flooded with carriers otherwise. It's just going to be unmanageable.
Yeah, because it's the sort of thing where I can do hundreds, many hundreds, at least some.
Yeah.
This was.
I don't know what the actual number limit is for a system in carriers, but there is obviously a limit, because obviously you've seen some systems become literally chock-a-block with them, and then you can't jump further carriers.
Like 64 carriers.
You could be right,
there
yeah.
is a limit.
Yeah, it sounds about right though. It could be 64 carriers, but it's a fair number, but it's not like in the hundreds or anything. But yeah, there is a limit to a system. But imagine if there's like a Distant Worlds waypoint base camp system, and it's just like flooded with carriers, and it's like, that's just so predictable that would happen.
How far has people come in this expedition?
Right.
Sorry, how far have people come? I just reached the first checkpoint.
Oh right, I'm sort of on my way at the moment.
You mean Kappa system?
I think he means the
waypoint 2.
Waypoint 2.
Waypoint 2. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
waypoint 2.
Right, let me check on the map where I'm at the moment, because I've just been too busy just jumping and talking to see where
You're
I'm
fairly
at.
far out there. I'm watching on the GAR map.
Yeah, I'm not
You're fairly
far
far out
off. The
I mean, I haven't
first.
got the waypoints, but
Yeah, I think I'm not that far off waypoint 2 at the moment, because I suppose it's not that far, that's why I've reached it relatively quickly. I think that's waypoint 2 anyway. I'm too busy sort of chatting away to have noticed where I actually I think I was vaguely sort of aware where I was actually, but you know. So yeah, I think so.
I think one of the nice things about expeditions is just chatting, you know.
Oh, definitely,
having that,
yeah.
rather than it just being like a solo venture sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, well that's the point, isn't it? You could do your solo venture any time. You could just go wherever you want to, and it's not the same. I mean, it's fun to be had by yourself, but as you say, with other people, it's more fun.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it's good for. Where is everyone else relative to Waypoint 2 then? Because obviously some people have like logged off for the night.
I'm just, the entire time we've been talking, I've been sat dogged at the station.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the time in the past, there was a lot of, it would be like, you know, you and I would dock with a carrier and just like keep chatting and just like sitting on a carrier.
Oh yeah.
That was quite a regular thing.
Yeah, because me and you need to catch up more often with you, because whenever we do, we just go, not like we have tonight, we go on a massive natter and had like a good old chat.
Yeah.
We need to chat more often.
Oh, definitely. It's always fun. But yeah, it was always a sense of like you're in a carrier and I'm sort of like, you know, moving the external camera around a bit for the stream and to keep people not bored anymore.
Yeah, because since carriers became a thing, I've been when I've done expeditions, I've become kind of attached to them.
No, I understand why. I mean, I do totally also understand this, but it's people who, to like real life reasons, do actually just like turn up at the waypoints, having gone there on the carrier because they don't have the time to sort of jump around otherwise.
Oh,
I understand that, but yeah, it's obviously like I knew some of that was kind of inevitable that was going to happen, but it's just a sense of just trying to encourage people, obviously, to be like old school explorers as much as they can, and it's probably a good idea, really. But yeah, it's like do what you can when you can, as always, and you know, hope to have some fun at each waypoint. Yeah. Are you docking with JBL's carrier?
One second.
Are you talking to me?
No, anyone really?
I mean, I docked at
JBL's
carrier
departing
called
tomorrow, so you will be at the place with mine because I am already departed.
Oh, I see. Right, yeah, sure.
You still can't board because it's just 1,000 light years away.
Let's have a go at the galaxy map again to see if there's anyone hanging around the intermediate systems. Because I usually get this with expedition launch. You see there's like a sort of a green trail usually of commanders sort of stretched across an area of space. And it is usually quite fun to look at. See, how far away are we from the bubble? We've done like 4,000 light years already. Doing pretty good time. Then again, my range is like, what, 79 light years, wherever it is. So that's probably why we're making such good time. Okay, who do we have here? Commander Hailer, and who's the other one in the Alcock's pocket by the looks of it? And Perfidious Spoon. Looks like they're also out there. Well, hello to those commanders. Boate's Void, I think, is also a little bit behind them still. A.G. Duran, that's your carrier, obviously, I think, with you on it.
Yep.
Yeah, so looks like you're making good progress too. Just clicking on other sort of...
It's just about 9 jumps.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Perfidious Spoon's the nearest one out of anyone I can still see. Yeah, I think that's still one of the best command names I've seen in a long time, Perfidious Spoon. It makes me laugh anyway. But here I am, yeah, I'm quite close.
Just Mandela's top jump, 95 probably.
Something like that, yeah. I have heard of people having such extreme jump ranges. It's probably, I wonder if they have a shield generator with that even. It's probably just a paper ship, I reckon, if you're jumping with that, you know.
Yeah, if it's just strap it on top, below you.
Yeah. It's like my ship's quite well equipped, so it's like I've not really left out anything. I've still got, like, you know, all the bits and pieces. I've got a reasonable shield. It's, you know, it's kind of what you'd expect for like a standard Explorer. I wasn't that bothered about the extreme range. I've only got one ship I've really fitted out to go as far as possible, and that's the Anaconda I used on the 42 expedition. And because that's supposed to be like a racer, because there's like 2 bits of the 42 Expedition for those of you who aren't familiar with it. It's one that JBL ran a few months ago. It was very good. It was like a sort of galactic, circumgalactic expedition, but it hit literally all 42 different regions of the galaxy. And not just the reference, obviously, to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but simultaneously there was also a sort of race competition that I was part of, that you literally had to hit systems from like within these 42 regions, and it was insane. I nearly went mad doing it, to be honest, and some people probably did go mad doing it. I mean, if I have gone mad, I hadn't noticed, but maybe that's a sign that I have gone mad. But anyway, I used this 82 light year Anaconda to do it.
Because I have a suitable ship, so we can FSDSO racing again.
Yeah, anyone who did that challenge though, it was mental. I think the longest range I saw for that one was like an 85 light year Conda, but yeah, mine was at 82, so that was still like pretty decent. And it still took me a while to get through all the places, but you know, it's a lot seeing that much of the galaxy, even with a long range. But it was a case of literally just buckyballing it through the whole galaxy without barely stopping much. I think I landed about twice in the whole thing.
Hello, what's there?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Ami.
How's it going?
Going well. 1 second. Okay. How do I sound?
You sound okay.
Good. Readable and...
What?
You sound fine.
Okay, cool.
You probably missed up the very funky meetup before launch. We had
I
pretty
probably
good
missed
times
what?
until it becomes the racing time, because the racing time was interrupted by constant bugs.
Still, it's good to have you with us. Yeah, it's we had a fun time, and I'm glad you're with us. It's good to see new people. I'm just having a quick flick through the Discord.
I got a couple of questions.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what's it called? So there's gonna be an expedition of a bunch of different pilots going out over to the starting point, and then everyone starts together, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we already started.
Yeah, we did that this evening. Yeah.
Ah.
Raced and started.
Yeah.
So okay, wait.
Yeah.
So I missed it. Ah, dang it.
No, you can still join us though. Yeah, I mean we'll be at Waypoint 2 next week, and if you want to join us, then you're welcome to. I mean anyone who signs up in the next kind of couple of weeks, even as long as they can catch up, and it's not that far Waypoint 2 either, so you can reach us pretty easily for next week's meetup.
Ah, okay. Got it.
Oh, there's a meetup next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a meetup usually every week with there's a I'll show you. It's the whole list is where did I put that? I think it was in announcements. Yeah, it's in announcements. There's roughly like what day, because every Sunday, like this is the 2nd of February today, the next one's the 9th, then the 16th, so on and so forth afterwards.
Oh, I see.
And then it goes on. We meet once a week until March the 23rd, which is the last one. But yeah, it's as always with these things, it's like it's not a mandatory thing you have to like attend every single one, but if you want to complete the expedition on EDSM, you have to hit all the waypoints to do that.
I see.
Okay. Ah, all right. Because what's it called? I saw on EDSM that it said like jump so far 0, so I thought that nobody had jumped out yet.
we've been going for like, was it when we actually jump? It's about like an hour and a half ago that we mass jumped. It's probably not updated yet. Things with EDSM sometimes takes about a day to get all the updates through.
Ah.
So yeah, it'll filter through probably in the next sort of 24 hours or so. Yeah, that should be.
Got it. Alright, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean Waypoint 2SA is not very far. It's like 4,000 light years, and I'm nearly there now actually, and I've only been flying like an hour and a half. So.
With all the ships above 17, you're doing it very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, it used to be like 30, 40 light years.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, that seems like almost like the sort of Labors of Hercules now, doesn't it? Flying across the galaxy at 30 light year range.
It's like ancient history now, which is wild.
It does seem kind of wild, doesn't it? Yeah.
I remember, but before, like, before I probably got into the game, so I bought the game just before release, didn't really play it for a year, and I remember watching Aramis's videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and obviously I've spoken to him a few times now, which is just like the whole thing is just like wild.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it is pretty cool, isn't it? It's I mean, I bought the game pre-release as well, and I played it not long afterwards. But as you say, it's like Aramis was like the pioneer, pretty much. I think there was a few other people who were like that too. I would like put myself as in the sort of next group of like pioneers in inverted commas, who kind of came like in the wake of Aramis and co, but not quite like the first. Because people like Aramis, I think, was actually like building his ship and money up when it was in beta testing, so he already had a ship ready to go on the day of launch. So that's literally what he did. So it's like fair play, you know. I wish I'd have thought of that, but I didn't. So you know.
Yeah, so I remember when I first got into Elite, I was scared of jumping. So what I did was I joined the Fuel Rats. That's why I joined the Fuel Rats.
Really?
Was to get over my fear. Was to get over my fear of jumping.
That's actually quite a good thing to do. It's a very rational way to cope with that as well. But it's like,
so
yeah.
I still hate doing neutrons. No, so when I hate going to neutrons and black holes. To the point where the first time I went to them back when neutrons weren't anywhere near as dangerous. Well, I think anywhere near as dangerous when they were just dots.
Yeah.
They're obviously still dangerous in their respect because you couldn't see the swords.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mates had to sort of like coax me into just like doing that and jumping to black holes and stuff because oh, scary. But yeah, no, to get over jumping into new stars and stuff, I got into Fuel Rats and it worked out.
No, that's a cool story actually. Yeah. I like that.
I remember one video when a Fuel Rat helped a fellow commander in orbit while he has been in the SRV on orbit.
I think I remember this video, yeah.
Yes, that's exactly the video. Nice music, to be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those, with Fuel Rats, it's like, if it's not like even if it's not refueling, we usually try and help people out anyway.
Yeah.
So like, it's just like, okay, fuck it, we'll try and like help people out.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't the Kingfishers end up being the people who actually specialised in SRV rescue, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
I think that was it.
Oh, that memory is about Kingfisher. It's now permit locked. Anyone checked the access?
No, not
Oh, no. It's probably... Tell us we were on Halcyon mission. How is pronounced correctly, because I was there with the YKA technologies. And after it has been permit locked by FTF.
Excuse me.
Hey.
Yeah.
Just shooting
Excuse
some
me,
probes up.
Okay, so... Okay. I am new at this. And... Alright. So this expedition You say it's taking you an hour and a half to get all the way to waypoint 2?
But that's with my ship. I don't know if your jump range is as high as mine. I've got quite a engineered Mandalay. But in most like a 50 light year ship, it's probably a few hours travel. But I'm just like making estimates at the moment. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it sounds about right. So the first waypoint is deliberately, so waypoint 2 is deliberately quite near the bubble, so it's not actually that far to go if you're quite new to exploring or expeditions.
So if you're speed jumping, what we refer to as buckyballing, you can get like around or even below a jump a minute.
Oh, there is also Astral Express departing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true as well.
So
what's bucketballing?
Buckyballing. So was it named after a guy saying basically you don't even scan properly, you just like honk and go. You'll sometimes charge your FSD.
My Viper is ready. Done that. Wait a minute. Let me check.
Yeah, you'll sometimes still charge your FSD as you're fuel scooping. If you're like doing it to have fun, exploring to have fun, don't recommend you do it that way. But what I recommend, I would say, is to get a Kylie 1,000 light years or 2 outside the bubble. Most people tend to kind of do that just so they get out of space that's already been explored.
850. That's my Viper.
Nice. But yeah, it was. This is like early days of Elite, like shortly after launch. Like people were like racing to Sagittarius A and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was like a buckyball race. I can't remember the exact lore, the exact story on why it's called that, but yeah. But for like most like casual exploring, most people don't do it that way. Like xenobiology can take it. You can be in the system for a few minutes. It varies on what you do and how you have fun. But with an expedition, I'd say do it your own way. Like, hey, try to be at the waypoints for like meetups and stuff, so you can have fun with people.
Yeah, I get that.
But it's not like. But outside of that, isn't everyone does their own thing. Like if you want to be up with other people in the meantime, that's fine. But yeah, it's nice and loose.
All right. That sounds pretty fun. What's it called? I've only got a Diamondback Explorer. Do you think I could still make it?
Yeah, that's fine. Diamondback is
quite
still
a common exploration ship.
Good ship.
Yeah, it's still like it's comparable to jump ranges. At least used to be comparable to like Asp Explorer. Which used to be the Asp used to be one of the premier.
I mean, in many
ships.
ways, it's not so much what ship you have, it's what jump range you have, because some ships can be engineered, even some like transport ships can be engineered for pretty impressive jump ranges these days.
Yeah, I mean, even some like you can get.
Easy can go 70 with newest FSD SCO.
Yeah, I mean you can get to
even without much lighting.
I never engineered. What's it called? I never engineered anything, so
that's fine. You'll still probably roughly 30-40 light year jump range. You can get out like with that sort of range. You can still get out to like Beagle Point, which is the other side of the galaxy. Like that's plenty of jump range. Like it might take you a little bit longer than everyone else.
Luckily for you, we're not heading to Beagle Point today.
Yeah, getting out to Beagle Point can be a bit like tight in jump range.
So you can build a basic DBE with FSD booster. It shall be enough, like 55 light years. It's enough for us.
Even an unengineered one, you're looking at like around the 30 to 40 light year jump range, which is completely fine.
Also, while you will be building a ship, yeah, or departing right now, I mean.
What's it called? Well, I'm still building the ship. I think it's pretty much good. I just was wondering if I should engineer it or not.
You can, yeah, if you've got the time to and the
you know
resources,
what?
you
know
probably
what? You
should,
shall not go over with it. too much because we have carriers and we don't travel so long. We will scout the area around the center, not to travel further and further.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's just engineering seems complicated, so I don't know if I want to like get into that or just start exploring now.
It's
So,
not
I'm
that
trying to think.
complicated. It's just collecting the materials for it that seems complex. When, you know, it depends how much time you've got. That's the thing with engineering. It's quite a time-consuming business rather than actually being hard.
I'm trying to. I'm just pulling up. Go on. So Inara is a great tool.
Yeah.
For like looking up what you need for stuff. So FSD is one of the first ones you can get. And with that, oh hey, you just have to have exploration rank of scout or higher. Provide 1 unit metal alloys, which you can see. I think this one else does it. This one else does grade 5 FSD as well. In the bubble. I can't remember her name, but I know she's not as popular.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since what's it called? Since wait, brain fart. 1 second.
It's all good.
Right. Since God, nope, the brain fart is still going. Jesus. Okay.
It's fine.
It's okay.
Right. Okay. So it's, since everybody already went, and the next meetup is in a week, I guess I will try out engineering before heading out.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, I've just looked up the other one that does grade 5 FSD.
I think you don't need to engineer everything because we
Yeah,
will
you don't-
scout the closed area and there is very tight parking of the stars, so we don't need the jump range.
The only
at
thing I
all.
would say about engineering is that, yeah, as they say, you don't have to have it. If you can get a little amount, it's good. There's different grades of it. Like one
I
being
mean, it
the,
just shows the build.
like grade
on
1
the-
being the easiest and grade 5 being
on the
like
Coriolis or
harder
in the
to
Inara.
find. Basically, as I would say this, as someone who's kind of new to expeditional explorations, it's probably best to get, you can get grade 1 upgrades quite easily. It's very easy to find the materials for those, and they can improve your ship quite a lot. As Delta was just saying, if you look on the Inara website, they've got some very good guides as to you know, engineering generally. Really,
We shall start about how he's familiar with the special tools for it.
Yeah, what's it called? I know Inara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
just looking on it, Elvira Martuk is one of the easiest engineers to unlock. She does grade 5 FSD, and for that you just need to meet the requirements. You just need to go 300 light years from your career start location, which is not hard. Like you can go to the you don't even have to go all the way up to the Pleiades. You can just go.
Yeah, I have a rank of Pathfinder, so yeah, I should be fine.
Yeah. So I mean, even so for Felicity Farsight, that's just scout and then provide matter alloy, 1 ton of matter alloys. With Elvira Martuk is provide 3 tons of fuel relics, just rare commodity, easy to get.
For about the engineer systems, they're on duty most of the times.
Alright, so what I'm looking for. Where in Inara do I look for engineering stuff?
So if you hover over data, on the toolbar at the top.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep. And in that you can see literally everything.
Got it.
Primarily the way you get, so there's certain places in Elite that are good for materials. But one of them used to be Dav, so there's a crash Anaconda that's good for data and materials. You can get a lot of people were getting stuff from high grade signal sources, and then
You know
trading
what?
them material.
You don't need engineering at all. Just stock DB with 5A FSD SEO and jump booster for going 50 light years.
Ooh, that's another question I wanted to ask. What's it called? I've got a 5D FSD thing, and it jumps 34 light years.
Replace
the
the
5A
5.
to do
Replace the
less, and I don't really
5A
get that.
because D is not going well.
So, so the way it works is E is the cheapest, D is the lightest, C is kind of in between, B will have the most hit points but is heaviest, and then A is the best performing. So
Got
for
it.
for FSD, you absolutely, when you can afford it, you want to be getting grade A FSDs.
Alright,
So
alright. Okay, so alright. Let me check again, because I thought it was I've been just what's it called? Absent-mindedly flying around, and I flew like slowly away from the fleet carrier that I was gonna buy stuff from. So now I have to fly all the way back.
There is one fleet car in transit. You can board it. Just 1,000 light years away. Easy task.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna go figure out this engineering stuff.
have fun.
And I will see you guys later. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Awesome. See you.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I think at that point it's probably a good time to be ending the stream.
Vagabond, are you here? Are you hearing us?
Yeah. I mean, you can keep chatting in here if you want. I'm just gonna sort of end the stream and probably call it a night myself. But you're perfectly willing to sort of do that with anyone else.
If you want
that
to
you
board,
would
I
like.
will stay here for a short time.
Okay.
But then I will depart to waypoint 2.
Right.
Just plan to be first today.
Okay, thank you everyone for watching the stream this evening. And good night and fly safe until next time. Have a good one, everyone.